Hello, everybody. We're very glad to have actually Brother Teoh, to be here to actually sort of help us rejoice today's occasion. Yeah, thank you so much.
So before we make the puja offering, we would like to thank Brother TK and family, together with Sister Joy and family. They are the co-hosts and also offering of this dana, which is a very auspicious and wholesome occasion. Let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Because without the condition, we cannot be here, and we cannot have all this wholesomeness that is to be performed and shared. So thank you so much for your audience, for your attention. So having offered the puja and rejoicing, you have actually developed a lot of goodness, a lot of wholesomeness. Because in the Buddhist teaching, the first thing you must develop as a cultivation or practice is the dana parami. Dana parami is called generosity. Generosity means when you have the generous heart, you actually able to give, offer, then help people. That will do away with your selfishness, your negative tendency. When you are not able to be generous, to give and to offer, then you fail to perform those type of parami. But whatever you give, you must understand the nature's law. You reap what you sow. Do good begets good. Do evil begets evil. If you plant the seed of wholesomeness, you reap the fruit of wholesomeness. If you plant the seed of evil, you will reap the fruit of evil. So what happens is, this giving, although it appears like you give, but according to nature's law, the law of karma, you reap what you sow. You will receive back. The way you receive it is very, very different. You may not understand how it happened, but it will come. That's why dana parami is number one. Without dana, you cannot start your cultivation, because you need this merits to help you. These wholesomeness are merits. Then with dana, the next step you must move on in cultivation is to cultivate morality, or what they call precepts, sila. You have to keep your precept. Keeping precept is actually very important if you understand the intent of the Buddha. He said, sila or precept can bring about a lot of very important mind state that can help you to develop the good life and the meditative understanding. So, in the teaching, in the sutta, he mentioned, as lay people, you only need to keep the minimum 5 precepts. For those who are Mandarin educated or the Mahayana tradition, 修五戒, 五戒, 5 precepts. So what are these 5 precepts? These 5 precepts, if you violate them, it constitutes major evil. It will cause your karmic downfall. It will lead to a lot of problems. So when you keep your precept, you are actually avoiding all these major evil. Then, like the nature's law say, law of karma, you reap what you sow. You will not commit all those negativity because you keep your precept. So you become a blessing to yourself and to others. So when you keep your precept, you don't harm people, you don't kill people, you don't cheat people, you don't deceive people, you don't commit sexual misconduct, you don't lie, you don't partake in intoxicant or drugs that can make your consciousness very low. Then he said, if you do this, you develop a very, very strong, wholesome merits. This is one of the 10 meritorious actions, keeping precept. Then 3 things will grow. He said it in the teaching, the sutta. Silena suganting yanti. The meaning is, if you keep your precept, which is sila, it will bring about joy, happiness in you. Then the second benefit is silena bhoga sampada. It will bring about spiritual wealth to a person who keep precept. But when you keep precept, you have the merits, you have the affinity with Triple Gem, then you will receive the teaching. And most people receive their precept, the renewal, when they attend Dhamma session or you go to temple. There you will also get the opportunity to listen to the teaching, the Buddhist teaching. That's why it will give you spiritual wealth. The last one is silena nibunting yanti. Sila is a source of spiritual peacefulness of mind, calmness of mind. So to be a real human being, to have the good life, you must have these three things: joy, spiritual wealth, and at the same time spiritual peacefulness of mind. So after you have dana, sila, you are ready for the third cultivation, which is bhavana. Bhavana is meditation. So generosity precept can develop the condition for you to meditate. Well, when your mind has joy, has spiritual wealth, and is always peaceful, you can meditate. Compared to a person who breaks his precept, he got a lot of problem, a lot of worry, anxiety. He's scared people come to know that he has cheated people, killed people, harmed people. Sometimes you commit CBT, sexual misconduct. There's a lot of fear, police case and all those things. Then when you partake in intoxicant, when you develop negativity of mind state, you can make mistake. And when you make mistake, it can lead to severe police complication or misunderstanding. Sometimes you even kill people. When you are drunk, you drive, you can kill people. So all these are the manifestation of a person who don't keep precepts. That's why precept is very important. So if you don't keep precept, your mind is always haunted with worry, anxiety, fear. Like you are most of the time having this fear behind. You scared people come to know. You scared your wrong action become exposed and all those things. So because of that, when you want to meditate, you see all these thoughts come and haunt you, the fear, the worry. Especially if you did something wrong in today's society, even in the office environment. When the office come to know, they report you to the police, CBT and other things. Or when people come to know, you cheat them, you deceive them, you harm them, you kill them, you do all those funny things. So what happened? You got a lot of enmity. People will come after you. So this type of person who didn't keep precept will have a lot of problems. Then because of that negative tendency, your life become affected. Then you cannot meditate, means you cannot develop wisdom. You cannot calm down your mind. You cannot develop the inner peace, inner calmness, inner awareness to understand truth, to understand the Buddhist teaching. That's why you cannot awaken. So these three things, dana, sila, bhavana, they are the key understanding for lay people who wants to develop the understanding of this teaching. Then later on, I will also explain why this teaching, the Buddhist teaching, Forfa or the Dhamma, is so unique, so special, and it is given free. The only thing that is free in this universe is this teaching. But do not underestimate its potency and its benefits and usefulness, because even though it's given free, but it is one of the most beautiful teaching that the world has ever had. Because with that teaching, when you understand, you can become enlightened. You can have the good life. You can liberate your mind and awaken to the truth. Then you need not suffer anymore. Your life become like perfect. you can live the beautiful life of a spiritual enlightened being, which is very, very rare. So these are the key important summary of what you need to understand about the Buddhist teaching. So it's not a teaching that you have to believe, no need. Because this teaching is very scientific, can be understood by ordinary people who are not cunning, not suspicious, not doubtful. As long as you have an open mind, a sincere mind to listen, then it will make sense and you will understand. Then because you understand, you will change the way you live your life. When you change for the better, your life improves, your understanding improves, then a lot of things will follow. But whatever it is, if you look at your life now, you will also know what you have done in the past. That's why when I came in, I rejoiced with Brother TK, and I rejoiced with Brother TK's sister Joyce and the husband Wai Kwan. They say small house, humble house. I said no, it's Singapore. This is luxurious. It's not easy to own this type of property. And so, then for them to have this parami, they must have good dana parami in the past. Otherwise, they cannot be what they are. So these are the understanding that you will have. Whatever you have done before, it will be reflected back through the nature's law. You reap what you sow. Yeah? So now, with this short summary, I will do the chanting, so that you all can renew your 5 precepts if you want to. Then I will explain the significance of all this puja offering. I will follow the Theravada tradition. The Theravada tradition, we will follow the Thai tradition. For those who can pay respect, we pay respect to the Triple Gem. Because respect is also a meritorious action. If you cannot, you sit there, fold your palm, and just bend your head to pay respect. Any direction can. Then I will lead you all to take refuge in the Triple Gem. If you want to be a Buddhist, you must have affinity with the Triple Gem. So going for refuge in the Triple Gem is very important. This Triple Gem are the gemstone of all the precious stones. That's why it's called the gem. So in this universe, the Buddha said, it's only in the Buddha, the first gem, his teaching, the Dhamma, the second gem, and his enlightened disciple, the Sangha, the third gem. You can find his teaching. Apart from these 3, you cannot find his teaching. That's why we take refuge, to cultivate affinity with his teaching. Okay? Okay, now I will lead you all to renew your 5 precepts. For those who are new, maybe it will take a while for you to learn what is precept. The first precept is to undertake the training rule to abstain from killing or causing harm to any living being. Okay? So we will chant. Panati pata veramani sikhapadang samadhiyami. Then the second precept is to avoid taking things that don't belong to you, to avoid stealing, cheating, deceiving people. So this second precept, you also need to undertake the training rule to avoid all these things. Adina dana veramani sikhapadang samadhiyami. Then the third precept is to abstain from sexual misconduct. Kamesu michachara veramani sikhapadang samadhiyami. The fourth precept is to abstain from telling lies, or deceiving and cheating people through unscrupulous means. Like you have a motive, you intend to cheat, deceive, that's why you tell lies. So Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. The fifth precept is you have to undertake the training rule to avoid partaking intoxicant like all those liquor, wine, then drugs or whatever that can make your consciousness like dull, weak and low, then cause you to make mistake. Sura meraya majapama datana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. So I need to clarify a bit. When it comes to the fifth precept, a lot of people worry. Because as Chinese, our tradition is we go for wedding, we go for special occasion, we tend to drink a bit or yam sing and other things. So we have to understand this precept, like the Buddha said, out of love and compassion for us, he advised you to keep so that you can avoid major evil. If you are mindful of this, then you must know it is not trying to make life difficult for you. Like a lot of people initially, before they know the teaching, they used to complain, why so mafan one? This one cannot, that one cannot, everything cannot. No, don't get the Buddha wrong. The Buddha said, your life, up to you. If you don't understand his teaching, you go and do all those funny things, you break the precept, then you find out for yourself, then you learn. If that is not what you want, then keep the precepts. But for the fifth precept, you must understand there is a flexibility. Sometimes, like for us Chinese especially, after maternity, you need to drink some of this, what they call health drink that have a little bit of alcohol content, like Yang Ming Chiu or those things. So that one you don't worry. Because you take already, you rest at home, understand? You are not driving, you are not doing all those funny things. So that one is okay. Then if you go to wedding, you take a sip or two, as long as you are conscious, not drunk, don't worry. But if you feel that you are already a bit tipsy, then better to get somebody else to drive you. Then avoid tendency to create misunderstanding or conflict. Because this fifth precept, if you don't take it seriously, can lead to downfall. So this is what I want you to understand. So don't be like frightened by the precept. It is meant to help you, to benefit you, your life. The real understanding is, if your heart is sincere, it's done. As long as you rejoice with the offering, it's done. Because rejoicing is also one of the 10 meritorious actions. So when you attend such activity, you technically perform almost all the 10 meritorious actions, which I will explain later. Because even listening to this Dhamma talk, Dhamma sharing is a meritorious action. Then when you listen attentively, then you find it useful, you straighten your view to change your life for the better, it's also a meritorious action. Then when you rejoice, it's also a meritorious action. And when you share merit, it's also a meritorious action. So all these are very meritorious. Then people who help out to organize all this, providing service for all this, what they call spiritual session or spiritual event to take place, is also very meritorious. Then of course the last meritorious action is the gift of truth. The gift of truth means you must have the Dhamma to give to people. So most people may not have, but don't worry, because if you make effort to promote this so that people who came can listen, they receive, is also supporting the gift of truth. Then if people help to transcribe what I share, the talk, and make it into a book and share with people, it is also a meritorious action, the gift of truth, but indirectly, so no problem. So what I brought along is some useful Dhamma book. These are only a few copy of them. I can't bring along too much. Then if you want, you can go to my website. So whatever there is there, you can collect them. You don't have, later on you want more, you let me know. And we see the next time we come down, or when you are in Petaling Jaya or Selangor or KL, you let us know, you can collect from us. I hope you all like me enjoy the food, and you should rejoice for having such condition to partake in this very auspicious and meritorious house dana. Like I said, you not only can get to rejoice, you get to partake most of the 10 meritorious action, and that will build up your spiritual wealth, your spiritual virtue, to enable you to develop a lot of condition to receive the teaching. Because without this spiritual wealth, the merits that you receive through cultivating, through keeping the precept, offering dana, then meditating, then listening to Dhamma, rejoicing, share merit, transfer merit, all this will prepare you to have this condition to receive the teaching. Because the teaching can only come when you have faith, when your mind is ready, means you keep your precept, is a source of spiritual peacefulness of mind, spiritual wealth, and spiritual joy inside. Then after you start to develop the cultivation, your mind will calm down, become peaceful, relax. Then you can maintain awareness to observe nature, to observe yourself internally and externally. Through this observation, you start to understand who are you, what are you, and how you function as a human being. Then you will understand the Buddha's teaching very easily. If you cannot understand yourself, you cannot understand the Buddha's teaching. If you don't have mindfulness, awareness, if you are not able to be attentive and silent most of the time, you are most of the time lost in thought. Means what? Means you think a lot throughout the day. You think a lot. You worry a lot. You do a lot of mundane things, planning, scheming, or what they call worrying, developing fear, anxiety. Then sometimes when you're caught in life situation, you develop sorrow and lamentation. Then because of your attachment to a lot of things, you suffer, you become miserable. So these are the realities of life and existence that the Buddha talked about. So for today's topic, I understand from Brother TK, a lot of you are a bit new, I don't say completely new to this teaching. A bit new in the sense that the true meaning of this Buddha's teaching, the Buddha Dharma, or in the Mahayana tradition, they call it the Fa, four Fa. Like Brother Chia, when he came in, he spoke 2 sentences. If you can understand, you will know. He said, 佛法难闻，人生难得. This is in Mahayana, Mandarin. Then he said he don't want to come back already. Because coming back is to take rebirth and all those things. But what is the meaning of 人生难得? The English translation is to be born a human being is very rare. But then we are all born as human beings this time. So the teaching says 人生难得经已得. You already have it. Then the second part is 佛法, the Dhamma, is very rare, difficult to encounter, very difficult to come across, 难闻. But for you all having this condition to listen to what I share, you have the condition to receive it. So 佛法难闻经已闻, 人生难得经已得. What must you do? You don't have to believe anything. Where this teaching is, like I mentioned just now, very, very scientific and can be understood easily by ordinary people who are not complicated in their thinking. You just have an open mind to listen attentively, then investigate and find out for yourself, is what has been shared and spoken useful to you in your life? If it's useful, make use of it. Change over for the better. Because if you look at life, the way you are is all the imprint or manifestation of your past. You can say is karmic, mainly karmic. So whatever happened to you in your life, if you are not so fortunate or less fortunate, or you have a lot of problem or what, then you know a lot are related to your past, mainly karmic. Well, the Buddha, under the teaching, he said, every day the monk, he advised them to reflect on these 5 things. He call it the 5 daily contemplation. The first 3 is regarding our physical body. Then the 4th one is regarding the things we own, our possession, our loved ones, and everything that we cling on to, hold on to, and believe it is real, like our title, our profession, our success, and whatever. And finally, the last one is what I want you to understand. He said, we are all, not only human beings, he said, living being included. We are born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of our karma. So this 5th contemplation clearly explained to us that karma plays such a big role in our life. So what must we do? Because we are born of it, isn't it? We inherit everything that we created from the past, isn't it? And we are what we are because of it. And it continuously conditions and supports us every moment, every instant in our life. So if you don't take care of karma, your life is going to be affected. You are going to be miserable. Then the next question is, how do we take care of karma? Karma, as you all know, you reap what you sow. Do good begets good, do evil begets evil. In Mahayana, they call it 种因结果，种善因结善果，种恶因结恶果。那么施主啊，千万要小心啊，不要种错因结错果。You understand? If it is the nature's law of cause and effect, moral causation, law of karma, you reap what you sow. You plant the seed of evil, you reap the fruit of evil. You plant the seed of wholesomeness, you reap the fruit of wholesomeness. Therefore, living being must understand, if this law is true, you must never plant the wrong causes and reap the wrong fruit. That is basically what the teaching is. So how do we plant the right seed? Avoid evil. That's why when you understand the law of karma, you take care of karma, you will automatically follow the advice of the Buddha to avoid all evil. When you avoid all evil, you avoid evil karma. That's why the Buddha taught us to keep our precept. Because if you violate this precept, they constitute major evil. If you check all the 5 precepts, they have the 3 evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. Tan, Chen, Ci. These are major evil. The moment you have selfishness, greed, enmity, envy, jealousy, delusion, fear, you already have the 3 evil roots. You are already evil. That's why when you have a lot of hatred, a lot of negative tendency, you become evil. You are capable of killing people. You become violent. Then you tend to make a lot of mistakes. That's why keeping precept is to avoid all evil. So our love and compassion for us living beings, the Buddha said, keep your precepts. Then after that, the second advice of the Buddha is cultivate wholesomeness, whatever goodness, following noble eightfold path, Pa Chen Tao. From right view, you develop the understanding to cultivate right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Then the four right effort to constantly purify your mind state. Then after that, cultivate the meditative mindfulness to be aware, to develop the stability or awareness leading to samadhi. Samadhi is the mind that is collected but unwavering. Means it cannot stir, it cannot be affected because it has wisdom, it has the understanding. So this is how you start. Avoid evil to good. But this is just the beginning, understand that? Just the beginning. He said, even after you successfully avoid all evil to good, you will have a lot of merits, a lot of good opportunity to receive all this wholesomeness, wealth or whatever. Just like generosity. If you are generous to people, people will be generous to you. You will receive wealth. If you are kind to people, people will be kind to you. There are people who will help you in return because you have people. So all this is a result of understanding this nature's law. But the Buddha said, in life, it's not only about the good life, avoiding evil, then avoiding the karma. But what happens if the past karmic that you do, that you cannot change, manifests as cause, then trigger of the fruit? Then when you confront this reality or this effect, can you cope? Most people without the meditative understanding cannot cope. So what do? They were like, through their own doubt and lack of understanding, have this question in life. Like a lot of people say, I work so hard, I study so hard, then I become very successful. I reach the pinnacle of my academic life, I reach the pinnacle of my career life, I become very successful. I have a lot of wealth, I have everything. But then I am still not happy. Why? Because they still have a lot of things that doesn't go their way. You understand? When things don't go their way, they develop sadness, fear, unhappiness. So this is what the Buddhist teaching is all about. The Buddha said, this Dhamma that he has realized is very beautiful and yet very profound, but not difficult to understand. If you listen to it attentively, you can understand. It is very scientific. It's nothing like esoteric or like need you to believe anything. No need. The Buddha said, this Dhamma, you can put it to test, investigate on it, because it's the truth. It will stand up to investigation. So what he had realized is so profound over a long period of cultivation and perfection. In fact, he took almost 3 3/4 world cycle, asankaya kapas. So after developing this understanding, he summarized all his understanding into the Four Noble Truths. This is his teaching. The Four Noble Truths is the essence of the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha said, if you can comprehend this Four Noble Truths, you will become noble ones. And noble ones in the time of the Buddha are called the Aryas, the enlightened beings. Why are they called noble ones and enlightened ones? Because enlightened beings are very noble in all aspects of life. They have right view. That's why they are very wise. They are very noble in their understanding of life, the nature's law that governs life and existence. Then they are very noble in the way they communicate with people, in the way they interact with people. That's why they have right thought leading to right speech, right action. Then they live their life following the Dhamma way, which is also very noble, because noble eightfold path are all the noble path factor that is incapable of wrong thing or evil. So because of that, if you were to look at this teaching, the Buddha said, it will enable you to free your mind, to develop the enlightenment, the awakening, so that you will not be deluded anymore, and you cannot have any more suffering, then your life will change over or transform for the better. Because this teaching can bring about great benefits and great transformation in your experience in life. So what he wants you to understand is, these Four Noble Truths, they are very, very special. You understand them, it's like you understand the secret of life. You know, when you understand the secret of life, you know how to live life. And this secret is not just the ordinary materialistic success or mundane aspect of life. He said mundane aspect, most people can achieve. But without the supramundane aspect of life, you cannot cope with life. You still suffer, he said. You will still be miserable. Because there are still a lot of things that you cannot understand. And so now I will zoom in on this Four Noble Truths. Then hopefully you will understand. Because it's related to your life. Related to everything the human being or the living being do day to day. He said, under the First Noble Truth, there is a First Noble Truth of suffering or dukkha, khua. He said the whole world is full of suffering, prevalence of suffering. Suffering is everywhere. And this is a reality. And he summarized them. He said, there are 8 conditions within reality. When you confront them, if you don't have the teaching, the understanding, you will suffer. And this one involves all of our mundane mind living, means our materialistic existence, reality and truth. What are these 8? He said the first 4, I think most Chinese heard of this but don't like to listen to this. They will tell you the 4 famous things. 生老病死. You heard of it or not? Birth, old age, sickness and death. But the problem with our people is, mostly Chinese, when they are already old, he said, please don't talk about death. Because they very fear of death. Then to the young people, he said, why are you telling me getting old, getting sick and die? I still have my youth. I still haven't go into life. I still have a lot of time to do what I want to do. My ambition, my career, my future. So when you tell them birth, old age, sickness and death, they don't understand. And most of them don't pay attention. But what the Buddha wants you to understand is, these 4 things are the realities of life and existence that each and every living being have to go through if you live life long enough. So if you contemplate, let's say, birth. Why is birth suffering? People will ask, hey, it's a joyful occasion. I'm going to become a father. I'm going to become parents. Why do you say birth is suffering? But then, the other aspect of birth you didn't see. When the mother conceives, do you know how much sacrifice she has to go through and how much suffering they have to go through? First, they have to cope with the reality of being pregnant. If they are properly married, then not much problem. But if some does not want to have children and become pregnant, they will have problems. Then the other thing is, during birth, you tend to have the morning sickness in the first 2 months. You vomit. And there are a lot of things you cannot do. Then as the birth process continues, those who have become mother before, they will know. Because this birth, as it develops, as you carry them, it will affect your movement, your mobile ability to move. Then if you have a fall or you encounter accident, it can be very traumatic. The other thing is, when the birth process didn't go through smoothly, when there is problem with the birth, especially when the doctor come and inform the couple, you have to make a decision. You want me to save the baby or the mother? And that is real dilemma. So birth has its complication. Of course, the bright side is everybody look forward to. But if it's not a normal birth, you will have a lot of problems. Sometimes the baby is born defective. A lot of karmic things. Then after that, the next one is aging. As you age, maybe young people don't experience, but older people will experience. Then we also witness our parents aging before, our grandparents aging before. As they go through aging, you know what happens? They develop more and more sickness, more and more disease. Their senses starts to fail them. A lot of things they can do while they are young, they can't do now. Then they develop very frightening disease like dementia, or what they call depression and all those things. Then some of them, as they age, they lost their ability to work. They don't have financial support or financial freedom to see through their old age. And these people has a lot of fear, a lot of worry. They can't afford the medicine because it's not cheap. Then they also cannot afford that type of old age life, because when you don't have people to take care of you, when you yourself are no longer mobile and independent, they have to put you in a home. If you can afford it, maybe they can get you a good home. If you can't, then what comes with old age and sickness is truly traumatic. Sickness and disease, we know, they come together as a pair. And sickness or disease can be very traumatic nowadays. A lot of sickness are very traumatic, very sudden. Heart attack, stroke, HIV. And even diabetic, which is a silent killer, if you don't take care, it will manifest. Then there are a lot of modern day type of sickness and disease that we haven't heard before, but a lot of people are affected, and it has becoming a reality. Then pandemic also happened. A lot of people also die. Then death can occur anytime. Accidental death, or during crisis, tsunami, earthquake, building collapse, war, like what is happening in Ukraine, Afghanistan, and certain country. So the first four reality, if you reflect and contemplate, when the time comes, you are ready to confront them. Then you won't suffer. But if you don't prepare yourself, what happens is you take for granted, now my life, I'm still young. You can take the attitude, but don't wait too long, because it will happen sooner or later. When it happens, if you don't have this understanding, you cannot cope, the Buddha said. So this first four, quite easy to understand. But the next four, this reality, a lot of people experience, but they don't know what is happening. That's why they don't know that they are caught in it. The fifth reality is, he said, we all have to come to this understanding that whatever we own, we believe we have, we hold on to dearly, like our loved ones, our property, our wealth, our prized possession, our status, our title, things that we think we own, even your whatever antique thing and other things, even your beautiful car, they are of the nature to arise and of the nature to cease. Means they will depart from you, they will separate from you when conditions cease to be. But when you have the affinity and the condition, it will manifest as yours, like ability to own A landed property in Singapore is not easy. This is your pyramid. It comes. But if people are not careful, especially business people or those things, they overcommit themselves, what will happen? They make a mistake in their investment, in their judgment of things. Their economic crisis come, they have cash flow problem, forced to liquidate whatever asset they have. And a lot of billionaires and multimillionaires, they just get wiped off during one economic crisis or currency crisis or pandemic or whatever. It can happen. So separation is a reality. Then our loved one, they can also separate. A lot of people think only during death you separate. Of course, death is very traumatic. When our loved one pending disease or death is very traumatic. We fear they will separate from you. You fear they will suffer. And because of your attachment, you are entangled. And you will have suffering. So what are you going to do? The Buddha said. Not only your loved ones, through death and disease, all those things, develop suffering. Sometimes their relationship doesn't work out. Divorce can also lead to separation. And divorce can be very traumatic. Not only the couple suffer, they argue, they quarrel, they hate each other. From love, it becomes hate. When this thing goes on karmically, they don't understand. It affects their children, their in-laws, their brother, sister who have affection and relation with them. So many of these entanglement can also get affected. So this is what separation is. Then there is also this separation that happens during crisis, like war, like tsunami, flood, building collapse or what. Then during civil war, you get separated. Or during crisis, emergency, you get separated. Then sometimes, as you go through life, this separation, when it manifests, if we cannot have the Dhamma understanding to accept this reality, then we will cling on to it, become miserable over it. Then we go into depression. Our life completely ruined, gone. Of course, there are karmic behind all this. But this reality, when it hits people, most people cannot take it. There are a lot of people who came and see me when they are affected by this, especially separation, financial problem, health problem, then disease problem, and also problem of having to confront death without understanding. Then not only this is traumatic, the Buddha said, the sixth reality is also very traumatic. When you are with people whom you don't like, he said, who are the people whom we tend not to like? First thing that comes to mind is, of course, those unfortunate people who have step-parents, stepfather, stepmother one. Then ladies who marry into a family where the mother-in-law are not friendly or reasonable one. That one, when you are with people whom you don't like, you become affected in it. You suffer in it. You have a lot of fear, a lot of unhappiness. Then also the kids, when they go to school, when they confront the bullies, people who bully them, ask for protection money, they also develop fear and suffering. Then in the work environment, career, you have a boss who is not friendly, not reasonable. If they hold on to the principle of harassing you and put stress on you to force you to work to deliver, under harassment and fear, I tell you, you get sick and develop chronic disease like cancer very fast, where you are very stressed. So fear is a major factor that induces stress. When you have fear, you become stressful, you become sorrowful, you worry a lot. So this is what suffering is all about. Then the seventh one, the Buddha said, a lot of people don't see that. When you cannot get what you want, when things don't go your way, you suffer. When your expectations in life are not met, you suffer. Take for example, you expect to be promoted, you never get to be promoted. Then another colleague whom you think doesn't deserve it, get promoted. Then sometimes even your own loved ones, you expect your children to understand you. You say you sacrificed so much for them, you did so much for them. So this good is according to them, not based on nature's law. But the nature's law is different. Their life, you should not force them, you should not pressure them. Then when the children under pressure to deliver, to perform, they also suffer. Why? Well, on one aspect, their parents want them to do all this, successful in what the parent want. But this is not what they want. This is stress to them, understand? So you expect your children to understand how you sacrifice and pave the way for them to have the good life. But you do it without understanding. In fact, you create karmic conditioning. So when they go through that unhappy moments, they will rebel, get angry. Then you think, how come I'm like that? Why my children like that? But in actual fact, you do that, in future you will have parents who will do the same to you. Force you to do the thing that you don't like to do, but only the thing that glorify your parents. Because your parents, like a lot of other parents, peer pressure. They want to become like famous or more status. They want their children to be good in piano, good in ballet, good in many things, to surpass in their career. But when you want, this is your craving. When you cannot get what you want, you suffer. Understand? You become miserable. Then you entangle with karmic. So expectation in life, you don't get it, you also suffer. Sometimes they complain. My own sister, my own brother, my own good friend, when I'm in trouble, they never come and see me. They never help me. But my friends who are not so close, they come and help me. They talk to me. Because of delusion, the lack of understanding of the law of karma, they get themselves entangled and become so unhappy over what happened. Because they cannot get their want. The expectation is my own brother and sister. They should be closer to me. They should help me. There was a real incident of a person who go through this. Then later on, after 2 years, I helped her come out of it. Then she told me, he said, Brother Teoh, I understand what suffering is. No need to explain. Because her husband was a main board listed company managing director. He suddenly got a heart attack and died at the age of 62. Just passed away like that. Then she was like at a loss. Without the husband, she is nobody. You are everything from now. And they know a lot of famous people, big shot, Tan Sri also. Then he realized after the husband passed away, all these people no longer come and see them or visit them and respect them like the way they used to be when the husband is around. Then he realized during the funeral, the wake, even the brother sister come for a while, they leave. Then nobody console her, nobody talk to her. Then what happened is, when this thing happened, she starts to become depressed, unhappy. And the reason I can understand, then I told my wife, don't try, because no condition, forget about it, because she is not ready. I saw her face, that suffering, that misery, that inability to accept what happened. The first noble true reality hit her very hard. Then after that, she kept to herself. She went into depression for 2 years. Then she went overseas to visit her daughter to stay with her for a period of time. Then after that, I think almost 2 years or 2 years plus a bit, she suddenly decided to come back. Then call my wife, because they were school colleague teachers. Then I told my wife, when there is condition, invite her over for lunch or dinner, we just talk. And within 3 months, she came out of it. And you know what she told me about? He said, Brother Teoh, what you tell me is very true. He said, don't try to explain suffering to me. He said, I went through 2 years of depression, I know. He said, when my husband died, everything he see in the house remind her of the memory of the good time. They went overseas, visit which country, buy what thing, all the things are still in the house. You go to the bedroom, their master bedroom, the wedding photo, everything. That thought process, that memory, keep on coming back and make her very depressive, very sorrowful. Then the thoughts start to project. Why my husband like that? Left me alone in this world, just like that, without message, without advice. You see how traumatic it was. Then when she was alone, he said, my brother, my sister don't come anymore after the week. Only once a while, friend, colleague call him. But no use, because these people don't have the Dhamma. They cannot help her. They say, come to temple, go and listen to the chanting. Or go to this temple, the monk very good. But nothing worked. Then when she come back, I just talk to her Dhamma, day-to-day Dhamma, the Four Noble Truths, like what I try to explain to you. But she can understand very fast because she has a past, she has affinity. That's why within 3 months she came out. Then she learned the teaching. Then she realized life is still so beautiful. It's more beautiful than before the husband passed away. At first she thought before the husband passed away, that is the most beautiful phase of her life. I said, no. There's a reason why your husband left. Because he got more urgent duty to do somewhere else. He has to go. Then you have the condition, means karmically you have to suffer for 2 years, because this is your karmic debt. But without this suffering, you will not look for Dhamma. You will not look for this teaching. And because of that, you're able to meet me. And when I explain the thing, you connect to what happened. And straight away, she understands. She developed the joy. She developed the understanding. I said, why you become like that? Because you don't understand the Dhamma. You cling on to the thought, the memory, and you cannot come out of it. In fact, Brother TK also asked me yesterday when we discussed. He said, Brother Teoh, this habitual tendency, this memory, very difficult to overcome. I said, can. But you must have the Dhamma understanding. You must have the awareness, the mindfulness. So what I told her is very simple. In fact, I try to explain to Brother TK too, but I don't think he can get it. Maybe now, after I explain, it's clearer. I told her, if you were to check what happened to you, it's all through your thinking. Because you attached to your husband, you depended on him a lot. You attached to this form, the 5 aggregate form and mind. And you attach to your own 5 aggregate of form. You think you exist. Then what happens, you cannot accept. So this thought will project. After my husband passed away, what am I going to do? My life will be completely gone. Status, everything. You are no longer able to live the type of life. So this thought trigger of fear, worry, anxiety, insecurity. And the more she think of this negative thought, she develop more unhappiness, more suffering, more miserable. Then I told her, your thought is a tool, T-O-O-L, for you to use to live life. When you understand life, you know how to use your thought appropriately to live the noble life. Means you arise the right thought because you have this teaching, this Dhamma. You become wise. You no longer fall into this trap. All this cannot trap you. You can free. At first she can't understand. I say, okay, let's say this tool, T-O-O-L. Take for example the knife. You use the knife for what? To cut fruits, to shape fruits, to carve or do things that will help you. That is the right way to use that tool. But you use that knife to cut yourself, harm yourself and hit at others. Is that the right way to use the knife? It's definitely wrong. What you are doing is, you use your thought, which doesn't physically cut you and bleed you, but think the wrong thought to harm you, to hurt you and make you miserable. I said, do you see that? Then he suddenly wake up. Then she realized, yeah, why I so stupid? Then she reflected. He said, but that time I cannot understand all this. I cannot come out of it. Now you give me this analogy. I know I shouldn't be so stupid. But why I continue to think that way? It was because the habitual tendency, the old way, without this Dhamma, without this understanding. Then I add in further when she start to understand this. I said, it's only a thought, isn't it? True or not? What is a thought? Arise, pass away. How come it has such power to make you so miserable, so depressed and so sad and so terrible? It's only a thought. 一个念头. It's for you to use. But instead it has power over you. Who give you that power? You yourself through your own ignorance, your delusion, where you don't understand. 五蕴皆空, the five aggregate are empty. He know you, he know me. But this is subject to karma. You must understand. That's why this one got a duty towards the law of karma. You cannot simply do things. You must keep your precept. You must develop wholesomeness. But this one, karmically, it is subject to the conditioned world. But beyond the conditioned world, there is no such thing as Four Noble Truths, karma, and all those things. Like the Heart Sutta. If you know the Heart Sutta that is printed there, you will know. 五蕴皆空. Then, within true emptiness, the Heart Sutta says, all this doesn't exist. The Four Noble Truths, old age, sickness, and death, they don't exist. Because no mark, 无相, 无你我相, 无众生相. When there is no mark of a self existing or cultivating, no mark of living being existing or cultivating, then there is no mark of Dhamma and all this. But this is the unconditioned world. So when you realize the unconditioned, you cannot be deceived by the conditioned world. You know it's a tool, use it. Then the other thing that I told her is very important, the third aspect. Each and every one of us, we hold the key to our own life destiny. Right? True or not? To be happy or to be unhappy is our choice. Right? So just choose to be happy. Why can't you do that? You say it's easy, but why is the world full of suffering? It's not because they don't know how to choose. They don't know this teaching. That's why 佛法难闻经已闻. When you know this teaching, you decide yourself. No need to believe the Buddha. No need to believe me. You decide yourself, your life. So if I know I hold the key to my own life destiny, to be happy or to be unhappy is entirely my choice. If I choose to be happy, I'll be happy. True or not? Then how to choose? It's because I don't know this teaching. Now this teaching explain it clearly. The Buddha said, the first two Dhammapada verse, 1 and 2, the Buddha said, our mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief. When mind arises, all things arise, good and bad, wholesome and not wholesome. So if you were to act, speak and think with a heedless mind, with an unwholesome mind, that has the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion, suffering will follow you. Like the wheel that follow the hoof of the cart. Is that what you want? If that is what you want, then no need to cultivate. Do what you like. Break the precept. Do all the evil. That is the first noble truth. First Dhammapada say. So, the twin verse, which is the second complementary verse, say the same thing. He said, knowing that your mind is a forerunner of all things, your mind is chief. When mind arises, all things arise. What must I do? If I were to train my mind, develop heedfulness, to arise the right thought, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, means to act, speak, and think with a wholesome mind that is free of the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion, then happiness will follow you, like your shadow that never leaves you. So the twin verse is very clear, right? One leads to suffering, one leads to happiness. How to choose? So easy, right? I choose to train myself to be heedful, to be mindful, so that whatever I do in life, when I act, speak, and think with a wholesome mind, without the evil root, by following the advice of the Buddha, happiness keep on following me, like the shadow that never leaves me. This is how you free. So the first noble truth reality, I already explained, the first 7. The 8th one is meditative. You have to meditate on. You cannot just understand through theory. I can explain a bit, but you cannot. You see, the Buddha said, in short, it is due to your Sakaya Ditti, self-delusion, your ignorance of who you are, what you are. You gullibly grasp and cling onto this human being, the 5 aggregates of form and mind, Nama Rupa, the grasping aggregate that I call suffering. There's a Upadana Khandas, 自作五蕴. Well, 五蕴 is empty, 五蕴皆空. But you grasp and cling at 五蕴, you will suffer. So what is this 五蕴? In fact, everything that you do involves the mind. The mind is actually the second aspect of the 五蕴. The first aspect is as a human being. The Buddha said you have a physical body. This is your form aggregate, 色蕴. Then you have a mind, mundane mind, consciousness trapped inside. This is the mind that has another 4 aggregate. The 4 aggregate in Mahayana, they understand it very well. 色受想行识. But under Theravada, they say Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, and Vijnana. So what are they? I said, don't try to memorize the teaching. Don't try to become a scholar. Learn all this by heart through memory. You can never understand. There you have to recall through memory. Like the day I tested TK. He got to recall through memory to tell me what is 5 aggregate. And he only rattled out the name, the words. He cannot follow. What you need to do is, assume you don't know anything, you find out. The Buddha said, I have a physical body, Rupa. True or not? Yeah. This one, 4 elements. Go the way of nature. Without the consciousness, it cannot be you. Because this one will grow old, get sick and die, like the first 3 of the 5 daily contemplation. So if this one follow nature's law, goes the way of nature, it's of the nature to grow old, get sick and die. When it happens, don't be deluded. But this is not you. This is the physical body. Go the way of nature. Not only you get sick, get old and die, everybody also do that. But when you cannot confront this reality with wisdom, you suffer. Because you attach. You want this body forever young. Don't get old, don't get sick. It's impossible, isn't it? Then the next one is, he said, these 5 aggregate, you know one form aggregate. The other 4 aggregate, don't try to remember. Assume you don't know. Ask yourself, what can my mind do? What can your mind do? Huh? Every day you use your mind. What can your mind do? You can feel it. Hot or cold. Huh? Comfortable, not comfortable. Pleasant, unpleasant. You can feel it. But don't take the word for it, no. Find out inside. When the feeling arises, it really arises. Means I have this aggregate of feeling. But feeling arises, it can be a pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling. Then when it disappears, did I die? You didn't die, isn't it? Feeling come and go, you didn't die, isn't it? So how can feeling be you? Then what else can you do? How do you know my voice? You perceive it through your hearing, isn't it? So perception is another ability of your mind. Every moment you perceive things through your seeing consciousness, through your hearing consciousness, through your smell, your taste, your tactile and your thought process. You perceive that. But you all become automatic. You take the image of what your brain tells you as the reality, which is in fact not the reality. That's why you don't see things as they are. You assume after people tell you, oh, yeah, feeling one aggregate percent. But when you really silence your mind and feel them, at the moment of perception, at the moment of hearing, at the moment of seeing, all of this, when they manifest, that's how you come to know things. That's how you perceive. Then you realize your mind can do that. Yeah. Then I don't have to remember. What can my mind do? My mind can feel, can perceive. Then throughout the day, what else your mind do? You think a lot, isn't it? You worry a lot, isn't it? You plan a lot, isn't it? You scheme a lot, isn't it? You try to reason, analyze, and maybe you do a lot of other things with your mind. You develop mental state, emotion. If you meditate, you develop calmness, peacefulness, tranquility, stillness, which is good. But if you go and think, project your thought and worry, fear, worry, anxiety arise. So this is what your mind can do. And this one is the third aggregate. The mind can develop sankhara activity, the Buddha said. So Brother TK told me the third aggregate is mental formation. That is what the book say. That is what people say. But actual sankhara is when you check, everything that your mind can do is sankhara, including the mental activity which is thinking, the mental projection through all the images, mental formation, your mental intention, your whatever emotion or mind state. That's why they have 52 sankhara. So all these are included. Then when you know your mind can do these 3 things, you ask yourself, what else can your mind do? Most people don't realize it. What else can your mind do? Now I ask you. What is the last aggregate? Your mind can be conscious of things, isn't it? Like when you see something, you can become conscious of what you see, isn't it? Conscious of what you hear, isn't it? Like the aeroplane. Conscious of what you smell, the good food, and what you taste, the food, and how your body tactilely feel and think. That is the power of the mind, to become conscious. But when you are conscious, you haven't think, understand? But this thinking and consciousness, they come out very fast. In fact, sankhara, the thinking and the mental state, is inclusive of your feeling and perception. That's why the whole thing becomes the content of consciousness, the Buddha said. Feeling, perception, and sankhara is the content of consciousness. Then the vijnana, which is the consciousness, is the receptacle that hold the content, and when these four aggregate combine, it trigger off into a mental thought process, the thought. That's why the thought is the five aggregate, second aspect of the five aggregate, Wu Yun. But just now we say, feeling, perception, Sankhara and Vijnanam are four aggregate. Then how did the form enters the mind? As a human being, first aspect, we know there is a form outside, physically. But within the five aggregate, the Buddha said, there is also the form. How does it enter your mind? How does all this form enters your mind? Whatever you come to perceive. These are external form, the Buddha Rupang, the chair, the furniture, the house, the property, whatever you hear, smell, taste. These are external form. How does it enter your mind? How do you come to know about it? Through the perception in that you perceive it. So perception is the aggregate that bring the external form into the mind. That's why you also have the five aggregate. Wu Yun. So you know. The aggregate go the way of nature. The mind aggregate come and go, you didn't die. That's why the five aggregate is empty. Not you, non-self. Then why do you still cling on to it? Hold on to it. Become miserable over it. It's just a thought. Come and go. How come it has power over you? The moment that lady heard that, she free. He said, Brother Teoh, I should have seen you 2 years ago. I said, now not too late, because your karma, you have to go through that 2 years. He said, nobody tell me that. He said, yeah, it's only a thought. How come it has power over me? So now, he said, forget about the thought. He said, your life, to be happy or to be unhappy is entirely her choice. She decides, I want to be happy. How to be happy? Very easy. Go and look for your friends, your Dhamma friends. Go and learn the teaching. Go and do all those activities that will help you to develop this understanding and the faith and let you have the good life. That's what she did, precisely. Then, earlier on, during the 2-year depression, he said, well, not only that, he said, my husband was now clear already. But I still got problem with my in-law, daughter-in-law. You know, old people, tradition, they expect the daughter-in-law to respect them. Understand? No? He said, this lady, the other wife, is actually, the first wife is also highly educated, the son married, but within a year plus, divorce affected her. You think my son no good, huh? Okay, you go lah. Then finally, the son couldn't get a proper wife. Go and marry a very low education, not much educated one. Then the mother-in-law show cannot take it one. The husband used to be MD of a listed company. Suddenly, the daughter-in-law like that, don't respect her, very rude, very crude from a small town. She become like, suffer again, become miserable again. Why like that? I already toned down. At least call me mommy or what? Refuse. Then give birth to children also don't want to let her go near. So a lot of problem. So luckily she came and talked to me again. I said, do you realize this is attachment again? First noble truth reality. You cannot get what you want. How do you solve this problem? So before I come to the solution, I want to let you understand the Four Noble Truths first. The first Noble Truth is the reality of life and existence. What is the condition behind suffering? The 8 reality that I mentioned cover all aspects of your life. Because the 5 aggregate is what your mind do. Everything involved life is within the 5 aggregate. Then under the second Noble Truth, the Buddha said, there is a cause behind all suffering. And this cause is attachment, craving, clinging, grasping. You fail to see. You fail to meditate to realize that the 5 aggregate are not you. They are empty. They come and go. They are dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena. That's why it's impermanent, the universal characteristic. If you grasp and cling, one thing's your way, which is not nature's way, you suffer. Then because it's impermanent, it's not a permanent unchanging entity, it's non-self, not you, not what you think. So empty nature of existence. So once he developed this understanding, you start to reflect, this form and mind, karmically conditioned, outgo the way of nature. It's not me. When death occurs, what happened? Who died? What died? The Buddha said, nothing died. Just the consciousness separate from the form. And because you have ignorance, avijja, you take rebirth. You don't have ignorance, there is no rebirth. So the cause of suffering is attachment, craving, clinging. If you know what suffering is and the cause behind, you can manage your life better. Yeah. Don't tell me after you know the first noble truth and the cause behind it, you still want to bang your head against the wall and develop that type of life and become heedless and follow Dhammapada verse 1. You won't, you will change for the better. You will straighten your view and determine to understand this teaching. That's why you have to cultivate. So first is the learning of the teaching, the first phase of Dhamma Pariyatti, you learn. Then you determine, decide for yourself, is this good for you? Will this help you? If it's helping you, good for you, then determine to put it into cultivation, to make it a living reality, understand or? So that this teaching can manifest in you and make you really like the enlightened being. This is her question. How to cultivate? I will come to it. Then also Lorita want to know, when the first noble truth reality, sickness, disease, which she is confronting, one of her loved one is going through this one. That's why she wants to know. And the Buddhists also have a teaching on this. And you can free. That's why I want to cover this topic under today's sharing. So since it's recorded, you don't have to remember anything. You can listen to it again. So what happened is, the Buddha said, not only he tell you what suffering is and the cause behind, he said there is a third noble truth that give you understanding and hope. He said suffering need not be, the third noble truth said. Nibbana or enlightenment in the here and the now before you die is possible. And you realize there is a teaching that you can develop understanding before you die, means there is really light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it? Then you will go out and learn. He not only stopped there. He not only don't stop there, sorry. He continued. He said, how to do it? Fourth noble truth. There is a path that leads to the end of all suffering. You don't have to suffer anymore. If you cultivate this noble eightfold path, which is Pa Chen Tao, the meditation, it will lead to the end of all suffering. So this is the meditation. Cultivate noble eightfold path. And what are noble eightfold paths? Right view, leading to right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Then the four right effort, then right samadhi, and finally right mindfulness. So all this you cultivate is a very big field. It will lead to that wisdom that allow you to seize your mind. So now you know how to do it. The only thing you need to do is to put into practice. So coming back to just now, the question of the daughter-in-law. I told her it's very simple. I said, you must understand what is the law of karma. You must understand the Dhamma. I said, do you realize you still attached? You think she's your daughter-in-law. She must respect you. Your expectation is not met. She must behave in certain manner. But you are you. She is her. To me, she is just the way she is. Because she came from that background, uneducated, she is like that, she will behave like that. Understand? So you cannot accept her for what she is. You want things your way, which is not possible, where it's not nature's way, you will suffer. Then he looked at me. Then don't do anything. I say, no. If you don't want to get yourself entangled, please listen. This law of karma is very profound. The daughter-in-law, has her own karma. If she respect you, serve you, she develop these merits, understand? Then in future, she will have daughter-in-law that serve her, respect her, and do all this. You, because in the past, certain life, you also did the same thing to your mother-in-law. So now you become the victim. You kena this condition. You want to blame people. Then she look at me. 有这样回事咩? Got like that one咩? I say it's not a belief. This is kind. Why I don't kena, you kena? Why my wife don't kena, you kena? Why other people become like that? Other people don't become like that. You find out yourself. Then he said, what must I do? That is a standard question again. I say, if you don't want to learn, you cannot understand. What must I do means asking for knowledge. Understand? Means you don't want to understand. Not what must you do. You must understand all this. Then ask yourself, if I were to follow the Buddha's teaching, the answer is very clear. Don't cling, don't attach. Not what you think. That's why you have to meditate to realize this. Not as a theory. Otherwise you cannot do it. Then I say, maybe that one is more difficult. But I give you a solution so that you can accept this reality and decide to cultivate. I say, she is the way she is, okay? Can you accept her for what she is? Because the Buddha said, learn to see things as they are. The world is the world. Condition like that, things will like that. Human being is just the way they are. If they are deluded, they will do deluded things. If they are selfish, they do selfish things. If they are egoic or having a lot of anger, hatred, they will do violent things. They are just the way they are. If I accept, I'm at peace. Do you understand? Then I don't stir my mind. I don't become unhappy. I don't project the wrong thought to harm myself, to hurt myself by saying what? She is my daughter-in-law now. What she thinks she is. Don't respect me. All these are wrong thoughts. Does it make you peaceful? Does it make you happy? Does it bring about harmony? No. That's a wrong thought. Condition, suffering, misery. Why can't you accept him for what she is, accept the world for what she is, accept the reality of birth, old age, sickness and death? Then you got no problem in it. Then you can be at peace. After you at peace, then you act. Doesn't mean you don't act, understand? Or doesn't mean you let her do the thing she wants. Then, of course, without the meditative understanding, the awakening, you cannot stay in that condition one. You may have the knowledge, but you cannot live it. Understand? You will become miserable also. So I say, what you have to do is very simple. After accepting this, you are at peace. You have clarity of mind. Then you ask yourself, how can I move from here? How can I resolve this amicably so that nobody gets hurt, no karmic obligation, so that she is happy, I'm happy, my son is happy, and everybody is happy? True or not? He said, yeah, that is what I want to learn. So, again she asked, how? Very simple. If it's karmic, knowing that in the past you did to somebody, now you are the victim, what must you do? That's why it comes to the answer to Lorita's question. Sickness also the same. The three things you must do, the Buddha said. Because there is karma, ask for forgiveness, repentance, 忏悔. You have to do. Where these are karmic obstruction, it will obstruct you and hit you back. Because you did to your in-law in the past, now you become the victim, you complain. When you did this to people, you don't complain. This is what 因果轮回啊，种错因结错果，要接受。You have to accept, then you move. So this is how you act. Following what? Noble Eightfold Path. The Buddha already said, you follow that Noble Eightfold Path, you will lead to the end of all suffering. So I follow Noble Eightfold Path. First is right view with regards to law of karma. And now I know why it's like that. So I cannot complain anymore. Yeah. I cannot stir my mind and react to situation anymore. Yeah. No more remorse, nothing. No negativity. I accept. Then I do what I have to do. Chanapay. Ask for forgiveness. Break the karmic obstruction. Then vow not to repeat all this wrong thing by following the advice of the Buddha. To avoid all evil, keep the precept, cultivate goodness, wholesomeness, following Noble Eightfold Path. Then meditate to realize the wisdom. If you do this, you become a true cultivator of the way. Means you are a Dharma practitioner. 你是修行者 understand? Dharma practitioner. And when you start to follow the advice of the Buddha and cultivate, you develop a lot of merits, a lot of wholesomeness. Then you invoke power of merit. It's all in this chanting book. On page 1801. Joyce, I will give you a copy. You don't have. So what happened is, this particular teaching is so important, so valuable. After you have all this merit, so merit is like spiritual money, you understand? Spiritual money. So when you have spiritual money, like our worldly society, when we have money, we can make use of money. Right? If the user of money has the understanding, money become good, money become wholesome. You can use it to help people, to do generosity, to develop a lot of wholesomeness. But if you don't have money, there is a limit to what you can do with it. So spiritual worth or money is the same. When you cultivate, you develop the 10 meritorious action, you develop spiritual wealth, then you can channel this money. Whatever money can bring about, you are capable of doing it. Like you want to buy this house, you can buy. You want to buy a TV to have a good life, you can. You want to fix aircon for your loved one, you can. Because these are possible. But certain things you cannot know. Like I saw that girl very pretty, I want to marry her. Cannot, because there is no condition. Money alone cannot get you that thing, unless that girl wants your money. But certain things, which is impossible, you cannot. Like you cannot invoke power of merit. By the power of this merit, I want to be enlightened immediately. I can. There is no such thing. You need causes and conditions. So this spiritual wealth that you have cultivated, you invoke power of merit. By the power of whatever merits that I have cultivated or developed, may it arise the causes and conditions for me to recover to good health. So that I can gain back my life. This is for your brother-in-law, Lorita. This is for your brother-in-law. You invoke power of merits for causes and conditions for him to recover to normal health and good mind state, so that she can continue with his life. Understand? So invoking power of merit is very important, very, very important. So it's like you channel your spiritual wealth towards whatever you want. Then the Buddha also teach, you can recite, Itmina punyang kamina, mami bala samagamo, satang samagamo hotu, yawa nivana papia. By the power of whatever merits that I have developed or understood, may arise the causes and conditions for me to always avoid the foolish, meet up with the wise, so that enlightenment in the here and the now can be realized. This is what you can do. So that will cover the topic I want to speak today. I hope I didn't bore you for the last 1 hour. So sadhu, thank you so much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I am in the Mahayana group.
No problem. Yeah.
你懂往生西方极乐世界。
懂。
念经里面，阿弥陀佛经里面，7天 ，OK，7天一直念，阿弥陀佛神
OK，
肯定去西方极乐世界。
OK，
这样做啊。
OK， 你有时间听吗？
我在这边。
OK， 你坐在那边我解释给你听。That one very easy， 很容易。How many of you heard of the Pure Land teaching? The Pure Land teaching. So the Pure Land teaching, you must understand, your Pure Land is based on Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is one of the very, very unique Buddha. He got 48 major vows, 48愿, and they are very powerful. And he took the longest time to cultivate and perfect them. It takes him 12 world cycle, Asankhaya Kappa, instead of like Sakyamuni, 3 3/4. Sakyamuni, wisdom way, very fast. Amitabha, faith. You must have faith in him, then it manifests. 你听啊，现在重点了。阿弥陀佛的修行是用 faith, understand? He is not following the wisdom way or the virya way. He used faith. And because he did the perfection for so long, he has such parami, he can create that vow that enable him to create pure land. 净土. You heard of 净土, right? There is a famous saying under Pure Land. The lotus flower, in Mandarin you call 莲花处处开，一朵一净土。You heard of that? You see, he can vow until he can create a pure land. And you know what is a pure land? Pure land don't have deluded living being and don't have those heedless living beings. Pure land minimum 5 precepts. But most of them are bodhisattva. Understand? Pusa. For Pusa. So this pure land, in the teaching, 你要读, there is a line that say, 你的愿力要跟阿弥陀佛相应。你知道什么是相应啊？是什么
？OK， 一个是听，就是行就要行，不是，我的意思是说，他希望我们有这个3个东西，就是可以往生西方极乐世界。相应就是要有信，要发愿，要行，就是3样。
对 ，very good。做得到就成功。他讲的一定 manifest。7天，对，会 manifest。7天里面你要睡觉，你要睡觉啊。最重要就是你的 faith in him。When you have faith in him， 你发愿 ，the vow will take you there， understand 哦？你不要去用你的脑袋的 thought process 去到 How can 7天往生极乐世界？
意思是说，你7天内
，it's okay。
意思是说，你如果有7天，7天里面不断的是念这阿弥陀佛，不断的去想。我的疑问是说，7天每个人都可以，但是当你睡觉的时候，你不可能念这个阿弥陀佛。
所以我已经讲了咯，你用那个念头去想哦，修行 是正念，
对，
不是念头 ，understand awareness。
对
So when you have the faith, is 你的自信有那个 faith，then 你的愿力是你的 sincerity，understand？ When you are sincere， 你发愿，那个愿你是 invoke power of merit。
对，明白。
Whatever power of merit， 你发那个愿。And 那个愿力 will go into the nature's law and 相应 with Amitabha's vow. Then when it 相应 your cultivation will be automatic. 你不用去 worry about 睡觉啦，不睡觉啦。好像我跟 DK 讲，你修到那个正念的时候，不用睡觉，你躺下去，肉体 rest， 好像睡觉。But 你的正念还在，你 whatever movement in your consciousness, in your thought, the subconscious release and the unconscious release， 你看得到，因为你的自信，你的 true mind, the awareness is there. Then when it ceases completely without thought, without movement, you also know there is just awareness. Then when you wake up, 那个 thought那个 consciousness 连就起来了，好像我没有睡觉这样。所以不一定要睡觉啦。
他的意思就是你解释的是吗？
不是说我解释的，做得到。
抓得到。
But 你不要去来用那个念头啊，去想到这么复杂。你要有 faith， 来发愿。他的修行就 automatic 了，所以他的愿力很厉害
谢谢师父。
所以不要去想那个 is like what DK went through. Every time use the thought, the knowledge, the memory. Try to understand what the enlightenment is. 你做不到的，因为 that one is to be realized by the wise, each for themselves, without thought one. But 要了解不是不能，可以。But 最重点就是去修行 to really go and cultivate. If you don't cultivate, you cannot realize one. Like the Buddha said, I can only teach you the teaching and show you the way. I cannot do it for you. 个人吃饭，个人饱。佛陀不能够代替你修行，代替你吃饭。That one is very obvious, understand or not? So, you reap what you sow. If without putting effort, the Buddha can make all enlightened, you think he is not compassionate? He is definitely willing to do, but cannot. 因为这个是一个修行，你自己要去行，要去悟。悟 is to insight into it, to realize it. People cannot do for you. That's why 你要去行 and the 行is from the 六祖慧能的 teaching. 它有 three hallmark. 无念 is no thought. So first one is awareness. When you are without thought, you are already aware. 无念 Then 无相无你我相 means 无众生相无这个宇宙宇宙 everything. There is no mark of a self cultivating, no mark of others, no mark of Dhamma, no mark of existence. Everything is the unconditioned. Then the third hallmark is 无住 no dwelling. The mind must not dwell. 那个 mundane mind, 那个凡人的心or we call it mundane mind 叫咩？凡心Okay. This mundane mind is your thinking mind, understand? That one that create the 五蕴 one. That one is the mundane mind. 那个不是你的真心。起念起心动念，你听过吗？就是那个 Dhammapada verse 1 and 2. Mind is the forerunner of all things. When mind arise, all things arise. 起心动念头 That's why the teaching come. And this mind is very powerful. Whatever you do, follow you. This is karma, moral causation. So 起心动念，无念。What is 无念？ Yeah, what is 无念？
因为我觉得是空性。
对，那个是佛法的语文。真正悟道的时候，你就了解。一起心就动念。我如果无念，我就没有起心吗？对不对？你就悟得到那个真心。无念就是真心。Understand? That is how you awaken. So I hope, you understand. 阿弥陀佛萨埵。你有缘分你慢慢去修，你要跟这个谈多。No， 不是很好。你要谈多一点，你们同一样的问题。But 你的问题是 not so bad as 他的是前世因来的。他是做那些teaching以前的 thought based knowledge based but 他也有缘分，跟我的 nature 有缘，也是跟佛法三宝有缘的，所以他遇得到我。without 这个 tree 我还没有见过他的，他是自己找到的，找上门的。
他有智慧。
他不是有智慧，他前世已遇到，所以我讲的那个经典那个佛法有时灯part他一闻到他好像哇，这个很好这个真的，你听到那一句 The Living Dharma 能够 really develop the understanding in life the Living Dharma, not the theoretical Dharma. 学了不能用了。Cannot apply to life. 你 repeat 我所教的是什么？
你所跟我们讲的是不是唯系性唯系性。
什么是唯系性？
唯系性就是说 very detail of everything. Yes, 唯系性。
Okay, why not I explain to you this way? For your information, I am English educated. I never study Mandarin But very funny, like from past life, I can understand the Dhamma spoken by all the other master, especially Xuan Hua Sangren. His Mandarin is very deep but the moment I listen, I understand what he say. Then the Mahayana teaching, I read, I listen, I understand. Even the author who write or translate also don't understand. So what she wants to know is, how come I can teach in such detail and clarity? The wisdom has to be very stable before you can really share. And to share it with this clarity and understanding applicable to life, you need people who has developed the cultivation very, very long already. Then they come this life, because 1989 when I connect and realize this, until now it's 30 over years. That's why I can share this. I don't have to prepare anything. I don't have to remember anything. I just speak. 这个佛法是正法。Because I was requested by one of the great beings. Actually 是弥勒佛。他来2008，他的 nature manifest。他求我做一件事。我说你是佛，不用说求你 instruct 我就做了。他笑住很大声，你知道吗？那个 laughter 就是阿弥陀佛的那种 laughter 弥勒佛 sorry 弥勒佛的那个 laughter。他说 as he speak 那个口那边那个 golden words 一个字一个字现下来那几个字我还懂Of course the voice also follow. as he speak, the Mandarin word in golden letter manifest. 请你把正法传下去 ，repeat 5 times in golden words 那个时候我就讲你是佛不用多客气 ，instruct I will do。that's why 我就接受他的那个 request 我说 OK 啦，我就出来了。Not a dream is before I wake up when I was meditating. Before I wake up, the message came. Very vivid one, different from dream one. It just manifest. Then after that, very funny. A lot of things happened. People came and asked me to share the Mahayana teaching that I normally don't share because these are very profound teaching, very difficult to understand. Then after that, people come and request for the Bodhisattva. Wow, 菩萨道哦 Most of them very contented with the sainthood way. Sainthood way, you know, 声闻声闻他能够悟到那个四圣谛 realize the four sainthood way to be a first stage of sainthood, Sotapan, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant. They already very happy. Then all of a sudden, 2017, for no reason, people came and request for 菩萨道 Bodhisattva way. Then 我就 share 咯4个 session, just like that, 4个 session, 大概是2个小时多。They go and transcribe it into a book. Then I combine the 4, I realize it become a book. 菩萨道的书。That's why all this just happened. Then 心经我教了15个月，他们也 transcribe out into a book. But 英文版所以你去那个 website 拿来读了 download. So this is how it happened. And Maitreya knew very few people can share this true Dhamma, 正法. But he knew my nature can. My nature has this ability. And I also knew I can. And what he wanted me to share is just 2. One is this teaching. The other one is the Bodhisattva way that I uniquely created. That's why the yellow card I give to Brother TK summarize what I have developed for them to follow.
Just one question. Just now you talk about the Pure Land, right? And how does one know that you are being connected? Because you say you practice, you find that you do all those things that you mentioned. Right?
Sadhu to you for the good question. Normal human mind want to know that. But what is more important is Amitabha's cultivation is based on faith. You must have faith in him. If you don't have faith in him, this doubt will arise, this thought will arise. Then you can never link. The Xiang Yin, you can never link. Because he needs faith. He needs 100% faith. You have to trust him. Have faith in him. Just like the Buddha. How we develop faith in the Buddha? Not by believing him. By understanding that he is very unique. He is not only enlightened, he is fully enlightened. Sama Sambuddha. If he is fully enlightened, means he is the most virtuous and the wisest human being ever to be born during his time. To have him as your teacher, as your guide, will you develop the gratitude and the faith? Your faith in him will be very strong, isn't it? You not only get a teacher, the world's wisest and the most virtuous teacher who has perfected, and is a Sama Sambuddha. That type of faith is unshakable. That's why faith is not belief. Faith is after I understand his teaching, after I understand what he has gone through in the cultivation and the practice, and after I have realized this teaching is so powerful, so unique, so useful to save mankind. That's why 度众生，无量无边度。That's why the Dhamma is very unique. And your faith has to be very strong. If you don't have that strong faith, it cannot 相应 match with his vow. You know what are their vows? Like Kuan Yin, yeah, also their vow. Why Kuan Yin, they say, 大慈大悲观世音菩萨. He is the most compassionate and loving. He has a vow. Whomsoever who call upon her name sincerely, with faith, there will be a manifestation. He will respond. You think Kuan Yin so free? Everybody sincerely with the faith request, she responds. You think possible or not? The whole universe is full of billions and billions of people. How can Kuan Yin be so magical? 这么灵 like my mother used to say. My mother had faith in Kuan Yin, very strong faith. And she take me to all the temple. I cannot bow to all the deity. I can only bow to Kuan Yin and the Buddha and the four 地藏王, Pu Xian, Wen Su, and also the other one is what? Kuan Yin. No, not Miller. No, the four Bodhisattva. 那个还有一个普贤是 on the elephant one. The other one is wisdom one. 文殊 then 地藏王. You see, what is important is when you have the faith, then it will connect, 相应. Then the vow will take you. So for Kuan Yin's case, you know how it happened. She was able to perfect her perfection, virtue, and wisdom and understanding, because when she came out with the Heart Sutta, it helped enlighten a lot of beings to become Sama Sambuddha. That's why you recite the Xing towards the end. You say, all Buddhas, the 3 period of time, they realize Sama Sambuddhahood through cultivating the Prajna Paramita Sutta. You realize or not? 波罗波罗蜜多心行. Because of that merit, he invoked all this vow, and it become a nature's law. You know what is a nature's law? So Kuan Yin's nature is not Kuan Yin. 她的 nature, spiritual nature. All her perfection, her cultivation, like Sakyamuni Buddha. A lot of people say, Sakyamuni for 往生了, no more. No, the nature is still there. Sakyamuni Buddha's spiritual nature still there. His perfection, everything is still within the nature's law. So for Kuan Yin, it's the same. The nature is still there. When his vow become a nature's law, that's why he sincerely request through faith and sincerity, it will connect to the nature's law and respond. Kuan Yin don't have to be everywhere. You think he got so much time to know all of you. No such thing. And this one, since young, I know. I never doubt. Why? Because my past. I know this is possible. I know all this can be done. That's why I don't use the thought. Well, this is memory, limited. This one cannot realize the Dhamma, the truth. The spiritual field is very wide, very different. Not like what the thought think. That's why under the Pure Land, they're very good, they are teaching. Because people ask me, the Teoh, Pure Land, Chan, also can you get enlightened, man? No need to meditate, don't have noble eightfold power, everything. They tell me this. I say, please, you don't want to create karmic offense, don't say all this anymore. Because you don't understand how it come about. This teaching is so beautiful and so profound. You know, Pure Land, they got this teaching, 无量易经, or 无量寿经. You know how powerful is the teaching. They quote 2 sentences. The moment I heard, I knew very powerful. He said, 所知障. You know what is 所知障or not? Whatever you know is an obstruction. Whatever you know is an obstruction. Means knowledge bind. What you know through memory, through your thought process, and this is all knowledge. Wisdom is not a knowledge. That's why you use knowledge to learn, to argue, to try to analyze and reason. You should die one. Where it's not the spiritual understanding. 所知障. So if everything you know also is an obstruction, then why do you want to know? You understand? Who wants to know? The thought want to know. And who is the thought? Your egoic mind, not your true mind. The true mind got nothing. No need to know. The true mind, aware, understand. Aware, observe, understand. Awaken. Then the second one is what? 烦恼障. All your fear, your worry is the karmic obstruction. 烦恼障 come from karmic. When you have fear, worry, anxiety, these are all wrong thoughts. It will obstruct your cultivation. You cannot progress. You cannot move. That's why 所知障, 烦恼障. I tell you, the moment the 2 sentences come out, I rejoice and I sadhu. I say, this teaching is beautiful. Well, I can understand. So, do not simply doubt a certain teaching just because you have not cultivated it. That's why I say have an open mind. Listen with an open mind. If you don't know, like my daughter said, let it be. Understand or not? Maybe later on when I know, I will have a different understanding. If I don't know, I admit I don't know. Just let it be. Oh, rejoice, sadhu. I still haven't realized it. It's just like during the Buddha's time. He explained certain teaching. Then somebody asked Sariputta, the chief disciple, who is the wisest, Salita. He asked him, what do you think of what the Buddha said? He said, I cannot agree or accept because I haven't realized it. And you know what they do or not, the other disciples? They go and complain to the Buddha. They say, Sariputta is disrespectful of you. He said he don't agree. But they didn't understand the second part. Then he hasn't realized it. So how can he tell you, true or not? Understand? Until he realized, then only he can confirm. Before he realized, he cannot confirm. No, there is another part. There is a lay person, Chitta. He's not a monk. He also very, very wise. He is already enlightened. I think Anagame, that's the Yaseno. It's in the Theravada Sutta. One day, there was a monk, before Chitta met the Buddha, he respected that monk and he went and listened to his Dhamma sharing. Then he supported him. Then later on, he realized the Buddha is better. So he went to the Buddha and he developed understanding, connect and awaken and become an Anagami. Then he didn't come back to that monk's temple anymore. So that monk, because Chitta is no more around, he's very respected and very well known. People also didn't go to his temple. his temple also have less devotee and all. Then suddenly one day Chitta decide to turn up at his temple. Then he was so happy. Oh, he said, Chitta is back, Chitta is back. So he called all the disciples, go and tell the villager, the devotee, Chitta is back. Then he invited Chitta, sit beside him. He said, oh, luckily you are back. So he said, do you believe what Sakyamuni Buddha teaches? He said, the mind can cease one, can freeze it one, can cease one, can end one. Chitta said, I don't have to believe. He said, I don't have to believe. But this monk cannot understand him now. He was so happy. See, Chitta also don't believe, he said. Oh, he tell the disciple. Then Chitta corrected him now. Please, when I say I don't have to believe means because I have realized it. My mind has ceased. I have realized the enlightenment. Nibbana really ceased. Then that monk stunned. He said, you cunning one. So the story was like that. And Chitta was a lay person. See? He was not a monk. But he has the past and he awakened. So don't underestimate what you see. Externally does not reflect the inner. The inner you need to listen with the understanding to judge yourself, to assess yourself. Like you say, the Dhamma is pacetang, can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. That ehi pasiko, which you say, can be investigated upon, where it stand up to investigation. So the Dhamma is very, very beautiful when you understand. Okay? Okay, yeah.
This is a very great opportunity for everyone here. So please don't miss your chance to ask any questions. So, the youngsters, any questions?
The 4 foundations of mindfulness, the last one being mental object, it encompasses the aggregates, the 1, 2, 3, the feelings, perception, and the sankhara. Actually, I do not know what are mental. I mean, the things that arise in the mind is called mental objects. Is it your
Okay, you listen. A lot of people, very funny. They're very interested in the 4 foundations of mindfulness. They think, 你了解吗? 4 foundations of mindfulness. 思念处. A lot of cultivators, they think they straight away want to go into the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Where the Buddha say in the opening sutta, Ekayano bhikkhave bhikkhu, O bhikkhu, the 4 foundations of mindfulness is the only way out of suffering. So everybody get excited for the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation and all suffering, namely the 4 foundations of mindfulness. But these 4 foundations of mindfulness, you are not supposed to cultivate so early. You look at the Avijja Sutta. There are 10 steps. I sent out the sharing too. I gave that talk that day. You listen to it again. The Avijja Sutta is a sutta on ignorance, where Avijja is ignorant. The Buddha said, how does ignorance come about? There is this Avijja sequence. Because you have the 5 mental hindrances, that's why it conditions ignorance. Okay? And how did the 5 mental hindrances come about? Because you lack faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and you don't know this teaching. Then finally, It traces back until the last one that started this cycle, avijja. It's because you don't have Dhamma friends. When you don't have Dhamma friends, what he means is true Dhamma friends for you. You will not have the opportunity to listen to the true Dhamma. That is the enlightenment sequence. So when you have Dhamma friend, you have opportunity to listen to the true Dhamma. Like today, you are no TK, you have the condition, you can listen to this type of true Dhamma. When you listen to this type of true Dhamma, you will develop the faith. The faith in the Buddha and his teaching, and the enlightened disciple of the Buddha. Then you take refuge. Then you cultivate diligently. Okay. Then it will arise certain initial wisdom, which is the fourth step. Initial wisdom is yoniso manasikara. Wisdom at the moment of sense experience. At the moment you see something, hear something, smell, taste, tactile, feel or think, this wisdom spontaneously manifests. No need to think, not from memory. Where you act according to the understanding from that nature. You not from memory. So yoniso manasikara, when they are there, then you can cultivate the daily mindfulness to develop the fifth link, which is sati sampajana. Sati sampajana is part of the first foundation of mindfulness. The Buddha said after you develop anapanasati to train your mind to be mindful, then you develop mindfulness of the four posture. After that, mindfulness of all action, all movement in the present moment, which is sati sampajana. So when you develop this sati sampajana, means you have mindfulness and clear comprehension of every moment and every instant of your conscious mind. So when you do that, you will definitely transform. Then he said, step 6 is the next one, where you have sati and sampajana, clear comprehension, mindfulness. You are incapable of breaking your precept. That's why there is sense restraint. So, when you have sense restraint, then the next step is step 7, the Buddha said, you are incapable of doing wrong. You can only come out with the right thought, right speech, right action. Means the 3 way of right conduct. That is step 7. After this step 7, when you have this 3 way of right conduct, then only you can do step 8. Cultivate the 4 foundation of mindfulness. Why did the Buddha say that? It's very clear in his teaching. The Buddha said, if you are sotapan, even first stage of sainthood, you will never break your precept. You realize that? So after the step 5, when you are unable to break your precept, when you have sense restraint, means you are at least a sotapan. Then when you are able to come out with the 3 types of right conduct, right speech, right action, and right thought, then you are at least a sakadagami. Then only you go to cultivate 4 foundation of mindfulness. Why? There are 2 reasons. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the 4 foundation, the Buddha always start with this sentence: after overcoming covetousness and greed, then only you cultivate 4 foundation of mindfulness. What is overcoming covetousness and greed? Grief is to become sorrowful, understand not? Have fear, have lamentation. Then covetousness is steal, grasp, cling, but not the very subtle one. The strong one, no more. Means you do not have covetousness already. And you look at the 10 factors to become enlightened. The first stage of sainthood overcome the first 3 factors. First factor is sakayaditi. Second factor is you will not believe in the rites and ritual. Okay. The third one is your faith in the triple gem is always there. So Sotapan. Actually, step 5, you can be a Sotapan. Then after that, the next one, second stage of sainthood, Sakadagami, they only accentuated sensual desire and ill will. That's why after overcoming covetousness and greed, it's referring to the second stage of sainthood, Sakadagami. That's why you look at the sutta, the four foundations of mindfulness. At the end, what did the Buddha say? If you cultivate this four foundation of mindfulness, maximum, don't know, 7 years or what, I forgot already. Then finally reduce until towards the end, 7 days. You can at least realize anagamiship, or if your subtle delusion no more, you will realize arahantship. That's the reason why. Understand now? It's for people who have gone through the cultivation and realized Sotapannashi and Sakadagami, then only cultivate four foundation of mindfulness. But you all are arguing over what is mental object. What is the four foundation of mindfulness? Why you cultivate like that? You sure cannot, because kindergarten also you haven't gone through. You want to talk about university education. So what I can explain to you, I haven't finished, but this part very important. Why they call it mental object? That's why it makes you so confusing. And you ask the question, whatever I think, is it a mental object? Then, Brother TK also said, Sankhara is mental formation. Formation got object lah. You form object, formation no? But is that Sankhara? No. So what the text say, the translation is, I don't say wrong lah. We are not good to say that, because they will challenge you. I said not appropriate lah. Because it makes it so confusing. Why use that word? But what is under the fourth foundation? First category of practice is what? Mindfulness of what? Huh? No, that one is first foundation. First foundation is Kaya Anupassana, mindfulness of the body. Then mindfulness of feeling. Then mindfulness of Chitta, the mind. The fourth foundation, there are 5 categories of practice. First one is mindfulness of what? Mental hindrances, which my wife mentioned, or you mentioned, Poche mentioned. Yeah. So what is mental hindrance? It's the essential Dhamma that the Buddha teach. You understand or not? Yeah. You only learn the word. Sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restless of mind and doubt. But you don't know the meaning. Well, you memorize. You try to remember as knowledge. How come when I ask, they practice, they know? Well, in the sutta is mentioned mindfulness of the 5 mental hindrances. And what is the meaning? Why you must develop mindfulness of the mental hindrance? The first mental hindrance is what? Sensual desire. When there is sensual desire, you must be aware, the Buddha said. Then when sensual desire ceases to be, you will also develop the awareness. Then finally, you will come to know how the arisen mental hindrance or sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restless of mind and doubt, cease to be. And it will never arise again. That is in the sutta. How to do that? Nobody knows. They cannot tell you mental object. You're supposed to silence your mind. When there is sensual desire, which is a mental hindrance or a defilement, where there is greed, craving. When you aware, what happened? Don't need to do anything. It will cease to be, understand or not? Because anger was never you. Greed was never you. Sensual desire, craving was never you. They are mental state, dependent, originating, condition arising, because of your delusion, you grasp, you think it's real, you think you can own, you can have. That's why it arises. If you maintain mindfulness, awareness, use your true mind to be with it, it will cease. Then when it ceases, you will come to a realization. This is what the Buddha meant. I will come to know how the arisen sensual desire cease to be. Through what? Through not doing anything. That's why maintain awareness. Relax, aware. It ceases. Then what is the wisdom you awaken to? The wisdom is, greed was never me. Sensual desire was never me. Anger was never me. Fear was never me. Then why I go and do all those stupid things? You meditate so many years, still got anger, still got fear, still got this, still got that. You are clinging to the aggregate without understanding the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha already said the 5 aggregate of form and mind are empty. They are impermanent. You attach and cling, it leads to suffering. You somehow attach and cling and hold on to this, and that's why you cannot free. So when you silent and realize it ceases, you come to awakening. Before my mind stir due to this wrong view, wrong understanding, or habitual tendency, because the habitual tendency, you are so conditioned, you will react and stir based on what you see, what you hear, if they are not in accordance with what you want. That's why you say cannot root out. Not to say cannot root out, because when it happens, you never stay with it in awareness. And weakness is ceasing. If your weakness is ceasing, then you realize, hey, like the Buddha said, exactly. This wrong thought, which has the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion, like anger, fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, they are not me. They come and go. And I didn't die. So, because of that, they must be dependent originating, condition arising. Otherwise, they cannot arise. So, you trace the origination factor. There are 5 ways to overcome unwholesome thought, the Buddha teach. First 2 ways is mundane. Think of the opposite direct thought. Then think of the consequence of holding on to that wrong thought. There is an evil thought, it will lead to evil coming. So you are determined to abandon it. But the third way is to maintain mindfulness, awareness, don't do anything. Then the 4th way is to continue to trace the origination factor. How did sensual desire arise? How did fear arise? How did anger arise?
Usually when I meditate, I know a thought comes out, so I can say that I fear. So I say, fear, I can see you, you know. So after saying fear, I can see you, the fear, of course, is a defilement. It will disappear. But I was taught to also investigate how it come about. I don't know how to investigate.
It's very easy. Because you are using the thought. That's why you cannot trace. When you are completely silent, like the 4 aggregate of mind, I really say, don't go and memorize the knowledge. Silent and find out yourself. Understand not? Why did they say feeling? Do I have that aggregate? And then you really feel it, then you know your mind can do that. Understand not? When you really understand what perception is through the senses, when you see it, witnessing it, realizing it, that is the real understanding that will stick. No need to remember. So all this is the same. You hear, you want to know, you ask, you create your own problem. You don't even know mental formation. Their words are so inappropriate and contradictory. The 5 mental hindrance is the first category. After that is the 5 aggregate of form and mind. Then after that is the third one is what they call trace. Trace means mindfulness of the 6 internal sense bases and the 6 external sense bases. That is the third category of practice. That is how you trace. When you say you know, it's the thought telling you. Because you are not with that anger. You are not with that defilement. When that defilement arises, don't do anything. Don't try to know. Silent. And stay with that emotion until it ceases. That is how you meditate. aware. No, stay with it. When the emotion arises, silence everything, don't try to do anything, feel it. Stay with it, be with it, one with it. Can you do that? Well, what has been taught is fight it, suppress it, control it. What you mean by you stay? You stay means the thought stay.
Yeah, right.
Don't. You can see means the thought is see. What I'm trying to tell you is relax into it. Let it manifest. Forget about all this. Because you don't even know what are you doing in the name of meditation. Pardon me for saying it. Because when you know what you are doing in the name of meditation, all these questions disappear. In the teaching, what is the first thing that the Buddha wants you to understand? The section on mindfulness. Verse 21, 22, 23. Mindfulness is very important. That's why he said, apamada, heedfulness. Heedfulness is the path to the deathless. The heedful never die. Whereas heedlessness is the path to the dead. The heedless are as if dead. So this is the beginning of his teaching. If you are not heedful in the midst of life, you forget about meditation. You don't stand a chance at all. You cannot awaken. The spiritual awakening is not there. You are as if dead, spiritually dead, although you are conscious as a human being. So, based on that, what must you do? You must cultivate heedfulness. Are you developing heedfulness? And what is heedfulness? Dhammapada verse 23. The constantly meditative, ever mindful, steadfast one will realize the supreme enlightenment, which is Nibbana. What is ever mindful? What is constantly meditative? These two combined is heedfulness. So to be ever mindful, you have to cultivate, to stabilize your mind, to be mindful first. Means relax and maintain awareness without thought. That is mindfulness. When thought is there, you cannot be mindful. That one also you don't do what you want to know. That's why you all went the wrong way, thought-based. You cannot come out of it. So once you know that, my purpose in meditation is to train my mind to develop heedfulness, then I develop the understanding of what is heedfulness. To be heedful, I need two aspects of training. Ever mindful. So first, if I don't train my mind to be aware, to be mindful without thought, I cannot stabilize it to be ever mindful. True or not? Then if I don't have this mind, I cannot meditate. How can I cultivate Noble Eightfold Path without mindfulness, without heedfulness? So train your mind to do this. What are you doing? People say Anapanasati. You go and do Anapanasati. But why? Don't know. They say, do, one day enlighten. Watch rising, falling, vipassana, one day enlighten. And you're so gullible. How long have you been doing? Any result or not? Because you don't know what you are doing. The Buddha also did Anapanasati. But he never say after Anapanasati, the first foundation of mindfulness, he never say continue to do. After Anapanasati is to train your mind to be mindful, then stabilize it with mindfulness of the four postures, then anchor your mindfulness to all your action and movement. That's why the daily mindfulness, Satipatthana. So Sati Sampajana means mindfulness and clear command. So that throughout the day you are aware and mindful of all action, all movement in the present moment. In the sutta it is said, standing aware, bending aware, turning, stretching aware, putting on the monk's robe aware, even answering nature's call aware. Did you do that? That is to stabilize your mindfulness to be ever mindful. That's why you all don't understand the Satipatthana and simply learning all the things without understanding. That was why I tried to tell you all the knowledge, all the theory. So what happened is, without this understanding, you will get stuck. So once your daily mindfulness is there, means your mindfulness stabilizes already. Then the clear comprehension is to prevent you from making mistakes. Means clearly comprehending without delusion, sincerity of purpose, domain of meditation, then suitability of place, time, and other things. So these 4 types of clear comprehension, you stick to it, you will not deviate. You will not do energy field, you will not do all those stupid things. But you are sincere in your approach to cultivation. That's why clear comprehension. Then after that, you only use it to cultivate Noble Eightfold Path. When you are ever mindful, you have stability of mindfulness anyway. Then you can see a lot of things. You can see things as they are. You can see how you are conditioned into anger, how you are conditioned into fear, how you are conditioned into sensual desire. How did it arise? Like you see something very attractive. The craving is there. You want to own it. You want to possess it. That's how sensual desire arises. So, how to trace? When you're silent, you try to be with the moment when there is this craving, sensual desire. Then you realize, hey, when I saw that thing, this craving arises. This sensual desire arises. Then for anger and hatred or resentment, like and there, when I hear something I don't like, then it arises. Then fear. When I recall something like phobia or certain type of experience that I have fear before, like your scars or memory or other thing, then you realize it conditions you to have fear. That's how it started. So it's from the sense basis. That's why the Buddha say the third category of cultivation under the 4 foundation of mindfulness, which is mindfulness of the essential Dhamma. Essential Dhamma. So when you are mindful means what? Means you are aware that they are there. So that can lead to wisdom and transformation. So when I am mindful of the sense basis, I can see from which sense basis the fear arises. Like recall to memory, or through hearing, or through what I see. Like you see somebody you don't like, straight away you got the dislike, the anger, the this is habitual tendency because you have been like that for so long. When you silent only you can trace. When you think and analyze you cannot trace. Means you don't do anything. In life, maintain awareness. Then you know when the emotion arises. And when it arises, you recollect. How did it happen? Oh, after I recall this, after I heard. And this is the real realization from inside. Your awareness realize how you become angry. Then when you aware, silent, don't do anything, it ceases, you also realize it is non-self, empty, impermanent. It come and it go. So, I got no more problem. Your fear was never me. Anger was never me. Essentially, the 5 hindrances, not me. If it's not me, then why do I worry about it? I just have to develop this wisdom to be with it. Then every time I'm with it, it ceases. Every time I'm with it, it ceases. Then the third category, when you are mindful of the sense basis, you trace the origination factor, you know how it come about. Then you have to recollect. How come I cannot accept what I see, what I hear, and what I recall? Why I still react? Why the habitual tendency there? Then you realize you are so conditioned. Your belief system, your insecurity, your scars of memory, your conditioning, your whatever influence that you learn, your knowledge, all this is the one that condition you to stir your mind and react. So how you overcome this? You have to straighten your view to reverse all this. Unless you do that, cultivate according to the Buddhist teaching, you can't. And your problem is you lack Yoniso Manasikara. At the moment of sense activity, when you see something, that Dhamma wisdom doesn't manifest spontaneously. That's why you cannot cope. That's why when you don't have that, it will draw you. It will create suffering in you. So when you understand all this, you ask yourself, what must I do? How can I straighten my view? Just like just now I share with you. When you see somebody, like the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law, they are just the way they are. Can't you accept him for what he is? Why you allow your memory and the perception to record, oh, this guy last night cheated me. He's not sincere, he's not truthful. Then based on that perception, the memory from the past, you react, you prejudice that person. You become unhappy, you become angry. Do you understand? That is how you learn. So if I don't react, means I have to have the wisdom to accept them for what they are. Because all these are karmic. She has her karma, he has his karma, you have your karma. If you don't get yourself entangled, you are not paying back karma. Understand? But you get yourself entangled, this is what they call 所知障. All your knowledge is karmic obstruction. Block you. You cannot move. Then 烦恼障, you go and worry. Lucky you cannot move. So this is how you trade. When you trade, you straighten your view. Like the Buddha said, learn to see things as they are. Yeah, they are just the way they are. Angry people do angry things. Selfish people do selfish things. Deluded people do deluded things. So what? It's taipat liu to get angry and unhappy. Understand or not? When you can accept your wife like that, she very happy. Understand or not? She won't argue with you anymore. Understand? Because the spouse take things for granted. Then you end up arguing. You also like that, why? You think you very good. Understand? But you have to understand, they are just the way they are. You have to be at peace. When you want to say something to help or advise, talk to them nicely. Apply Noble Eightfold Path. Understand? That's why develop patience, develop kindness, develop understanding. These are the virtues. This is how you cultivate. This is only people. What about the world? You complain about politics. You think Singapore very bad. Malaysia worse. I told TK already. But the world is the world. Condition like that, consciousness like that, you evolve and move like that. Why you go and complain? Understand? Go and discuss. Then right and wrong. No lah, Najib lah. Does it benefit anybody? You create more anger, more unhappiness. If you want to share and contribute, take care of your own cultivation. Develop the understanding. If you are peaceful, if you follow the advice, if you cultivate, your wisdom, your nature, your understanding will shine forth like the fragrance of the incense, far and wide. And when it shines forth, it will start to contribute to the totality of consciousness. But you need more and more of this enlightened being or cultivator. Now it's so small, 0.0001% also don't have. So how to reverse this consciousness? This consciousness is just the way it is already. You need more people with this understanding. That's why you need more bodhisattva, great beings. You need the sasana. Okay? So now I hope you understand.
师兄，我们的 meditation 最大的障碍是我执，就是爱。就是说，刚才你所介绍我们怎样跟我妹妹讲，怎样cultivate，是不是要除掉这个我执？
你看啊 ，anybody that know Mandarin? Anybody doesn't know Mandarin? Everybody know. Huh? You don't know. You can understand. You understand what she asked or not? What is 我知? The egoic mind, understand? That's like the mind that say, I know. Who knows? The thought says he knows. But is there anything to know? There is nothing to know. Well, all of your knowing come from what? Knowledge, which is memory. That's why the Mahayana, the 5 aggregate of form and mind, 色, 受, 想, 运. You know what is 想运? 想运 is 所知障. 想到的想. You think you know. Like I say, what is this? Or what is this? What is this? Straight away you need the word and the concept, microphone in it. You are not having the awareness to be aware. Well, this one got no name. But for communication, we need words. English. Microphone. But you are not seeing this. You are thinking you know. Well, microphone. Settle. Produce the sound. That's it. But when I ask you further, do you see the whole thing? Are you aware? Aware means what? Like the baby newborn, no memory. How do they see? They are very cute, very naive. Well, there is no memory, no thought. They see things as they are. Like that painting at the back there. The direct seeing is to see things as they are without the word, without the concept, without the image. But you all like word, concept and image. Will make it easy for you to understand. And when you do that, you are not mindful. You are not aware. You are not having the awareness to be aware of the reality and the truth. That's why you cannot awaken. 明白吗？所知 means that knowing. 你以为你知道了吗？好像那个禅宗的正法，你要去学佛，你那杯水已经满了，什么茶倒进去都 overflow 出来，你学得到吗？因为 your problem is you say you know. When you think you know, how can I teach you? Understand? You already know. And what you know is knowledge, thought-based, memory. You think you know. Thinking you know is delusion. Because those who understand, like Krishnamurti said, there is nothing to know. Because knowledge, you try to know. Understand? You try to memorize. You use the thought. All knowing comes from memory. But when you see things as they are, it's a wisdom. It's not a knowing. It's not a knowledge. It's not rigid. It's aware of the movement, the phenomenon, the universal characteristic. That's why they call it enlightenment. You insight into phenomena. You awaken to phenomena. You realize the universal characteristic. In Mandarin, it's called 悟道觉. Understand? You awaken. It's not thinking.
Hi, Teoh, brothers and sisters. I wanted to share something because I've heard this analogy before, and at the beginning, the microphone, I was thinking what's so special about the microphone. But over the years, what helped me, or at least what I started to understand about this is when we look at it being a concept, we become disinterested in it. So when my dad gave an analogy about the baby looking at things. So for example, when he said the microphone, maybe when he said, oh, you think it makes noise, we say, okay, I can think better, I can know more, I see it's red color, black color lah. Then actually, when we say we know, we become disinterested in it, we stop becoming curious like a baby, because we are no longer interested in how many parts there are in a baby. I have no idea, I don't know. Actually, a lot of things I don't know. If I want to really go and know, I cannot say I know. Who's the supplier of the metal? Which generation technology is this microphone? 2021, 2017? What kind of mesh technology? Does it block off? Is it noise cancellation? All that? I don't know. A lot of things I don't know. But this is when you're really curious about it. These are the things that we really go and find out only when we say, I don't know. What is it? You don't say, microphone, I know. That we stop being disinterested. We look at everything with a fresh light. Then we don't assume we know. Then I realize I look at things very differently now. Then if I want to know everything about microphone, I cannot live my life. So there's no need to know. Look at everything as if it is new. It will tell you the story. You experiment with it. Oh, got sound. Okay, this microphone makes sound. One. Maybe there's some toy microphone, no sound one. You know, you don't know. It looks like real, no gun. Got real one, got fake one.
Okay.
You don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, so
very good. I continue explain, you will understand. Because otherwise it will take you off another thing, which is more confusing. But now you need to attentively understand. The difference between I know and I understand is very big difference. You know what is understand? Understand means you comprehend. You have realized it. You understand what it is. It's not a knowledge. It's not rigid. Condition like that, things will be like that. How can you say you know? Well, everything is in a state of flux, evolving, moving. You are not alone. You are one of the billions. How can you know? That's why, pardon me for saying that, those who try to predict and say all those things, forget about it. I mean, there are such things as prediction, even in the Buddhist teaching. Sakyamuni Buddha was predicted to be a Sammasambuddha much later. But that one is different, understand? That prediction is not based on guesswork, understand? That prediction is based on understanding that the Buddha to be, he has this perfection, wisdom and cultivation that enable him to vow and create the causes and conditions to manifest as a Sammasambuddha at that time. And this parami is so powerful, it overrules everything on. That's why it can be predicted. But sometimes it also can change. I give you another example, you will know. Like Singapore. Okay. When Lee Hsien Loong was the Prime Minister, he has a nature that can enable him to make a lot of decisions for Singapore. Yeah. Understand? The cabinet can approve, then he can change. Means he is in that position to do it because he has the authority. Understand? So in the spiritual field, it's the same. If you cultivate until you are like a prime minister of a country or prime minister of a major continent, then you have the power to decide certain things. Understand? But if you are just an ordinary Singaporean, look Kong Hami to Bo Yong, understand? But if you are at least a councillor, you can say something, understand? Or a member of parliament, you can at least bring about. But your power to change is limited, understand? But as a minister, you different again, no? Your power to change. So cultivator is the same. When your parami develop, you have power to understand things and cause things to arise because of your wisdom. That's why that type of prediction can happen. But the other one, fortune teller one, forget about it. For all the feng shui or things, forget about it. Why I say forget about it? There is certain science about feng shui. Don't get me wrong. But what is feng shui? Man and nature must harmonize. You think that is what karma is? You don't take off karma. Take care of karma. Whatever feng shui you have, you will die, I tell you. It doesn't help. Yeah, you don't take care of karma, your feng shui all temporary. It's short-term benefits and all things. So understanding truth and reality is important. Where I understand is not a knowledge. Any situation it manifests, the understanding is there. It's not rigid. That's why I always tell the Kayamita not to quote me. You know why? He said, Brother Teoh say one no. What did I say? I may say the right thing because I know the causes and conditions behind. But you use my word without my understanding, you know what happened? He will go and quote no. Brother Teoh say, fear not you malu kanchong cho me. But he hasn't realized it, understand not? Kong jia li hai, zhou wei Teoh. This is exactly what I mean. Then sometimes I say, hey, why you like that? Brother Teoh say, if he got this problem, depression, suicidal, ask for forgiveness lah. Then vow not to repeat, cultivate. You can repeat my word. But do you understand what I mean? Teoh. So, wisdom and understanding need to be realized. It's an awakening. It's not a knowledge. You cannot listen and copy and apply. Understand or not? So I hope you are not frightened by the word nothing to know. Don't try to know. Then you will ask the next question. Hey, like that, how to live life? Everything also don't want to know. It's not like that. Thought has its purpose in life. Thought is useful when the user of thought has the wisdom. That's why the Noble Eightfold Path says, right view leading to right thought. Understand? Or? Then right thought has its purpose. It brings about harmony, understanding, love, compassion, all the virtue. These are right thought without the evil roots. Then thought also has its usage. To learn the science, the arithmetic, or the technical thing, you need thought, because this is the tool, the instrument that you need to have. Then to remember how you sign your checkbook, you also need thought. Understand or not? Where you stay, where you address it, you also need thought. That's why you become very confused. Thought is the culprit, I don't want to use thought. No. When it comes to spiritual cultivation, psychological problem, you cannot use thought. Because the spiritual understanding, the Dhamma, is beyond thought. Akaliko. You understand or not? Sanditiko can be realized in the here and the now. Beyond thought, beyond time. That's why when you cultivate, don't use thought. But to live life, you need thought. You need to communicate. You need to express. You need to remember things. You need to learn things. But when you have problem in life, suffering like fear, worry, anxiety, these are psychological memory that concern your thought process. If you use thought, you cannot come out of it. You need wisdom to come out of it. And that one, you must have the silent mind to meditate, to develop awakening, awareness, and understand how you become deluded, how you landed like that, then straighten your view and reverse all this. That's why psychological problem don't use thought. But thought has its purpose. That's why in the teaching there is right thought. That's why it becomes like very confusing. But when you understand, all this fall into place and become very beautiful. That is what understanding is all about. When I understand, I am free. The other example, easier to understand. Let's say you go to school, primary school. Your teacher teach you addition, okay? 3 plus 4, 7 is that. But 5 plus 2 also 7, you know. 6 plus 1 also 7, no? So there was a joke. One of the parents asked the son. He said, what do you learn in school? He said, arithmetic. So the father said, what did your teacher teach you? He said, the teacher stupid one. Why? He said, Daddy, you already taught me 5 plus 2, 7. What? He tell me 6 plus 1 also 7. 3 plus 4 also 7. The kid learn memory. He doesn't teach him the logic of maths. When you understand the logic of maths, it's not a knowledge. Knowledge is rigid. My father said, 5 plus 2 only 7 now. What type of rubbish are you teaching? You become like that. You understand? That's why I say this is easier to understand. One is understanding based on your understanding of how maths come about. Means you don't memorize. You don't take it as a knowledge. You learn it to develop understanding. When I understand, there is a logic behind, like nature's law. Deluded people do deluded things. Selfish people do. There is a logic behind. I cannot say everybody also tell lie. One general statement. How can you say that? A lot of enlightened beings who has the precept, they never violate their precept. You cannot just, like knowledge, rigid. That's why a lot of people come and tell me, But Teoh, we are human being ma. Human being make mistake ma. How you answer them? I say, if you want to decide to make mistake, it's your life. You decide, you choose, you continue, understand or not? Then find out yourself. When you hit the wall, don't come and complain. Don't say, Brother Teoh never tell me. I already told you the nature's law, but you want to justify. You know what? Justify. I human being ma. Human being all make mistake ma. You understand or not? This is how people get into trouble. They are not serious about life. They don't want to change. They don't want to improve. They just want to give excuses. Understand or not? If like that, you cannot learn. You cannot change. You cannot transform. So the teaching is very simple when you understand. But when you don't understand, you become too complicated up there. You end up having all this problem, which is not only you alone. I used to tell TK, a lot of people worse than him or like him. Because people who don't understand the true Dhamma, they behave like that. Even Lorita meditate how long? You also in the Dhamma very long, is that, huh? YK?
Not that long as
Yeah lah. But like TK also said, but what did you all learn? Knowledge, mainly thought-based. That's why it's not applicable to life. It cannot be a living reality. It cannot transform living being. And I don't blame you all, because there are a lot worse than you. At least you have the condition to listen to this. I tell you, your root must be very, very strong. Affinity with Triple. Otherwise you cannot hear this teaching, I tell you. Okay, that's the end. 4 o'clock.
I really want to say a big thank you to Brother Teoh
no problem.
and
You should thank
your family.
Yeah, thank
everyone, you know, having the association to be here. And surely I really have very good takings for today,
sadhu.
especially the understanding of what is equal to 7, you know. I think that is a very, very good example, of you know, how you come
knowledge,
to 7,
when
right?
you are rigid and knowledge, you cannot change. You are rigid. You cannot shift the understanding. But you don't want to learn. You just want to memorize.
Exactly. And it's as if that, there's only one type of people in the world, you know.
One type of answer.
Only one type of answer. And one type of people that actually only have this rule, you know, only have this way.
It's the same as what? Like you listen, this one will interest you. It's just like your pants, one size fit all. Can or not? You hear a lot of seminar, people say, the best way to bring up the child. One size fit all. Not every child background like that one. Not every child interested in that type of thing one. Maybe the parent very impressed, very interested, then pay a lot of money, go and listen. Then they come back, they force the child, create karma, get into trouble again. In future, they become the victim. So why you want to believe all this? There is no such thing as the best way. The most appropriate way is to observe them and see their talent, their potential, and support them. Do your duty. If you do that, in future you will have parents that will support you, observe you, and also sacrifice for you and help you achieve what you want in life. And this is what you want in life. You don't want to have parents who force you to do things that you don't like in life. So that one, I think, is also a very good analogy.
Really, thank you so much again. And what I want to say again is that, if it's possible that if you come down to Singapore, I really personally invite you to be back here. Right, to actually
thank you
because
so
my
much.
elder son is also a very staunch Buddhist, and I want him to hear from you.
Okay.
Because I see you as an equivalent to Sadhguru, where he also said or pronounced the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? That spiritually, if you want to develop, you know, there is no such thing as that you go to attend school, go to a proper training, and you only reject yourself to certain knowledge. Right? But if you really want to develop spiritually, it is from the base of the heart, the mind, right? And when you free yourself, that is where wisdom arises. Right?
What he says is very true. Do you know, Krishnamurti said the same thing. What is our education doing? They are feeding you more and more knowledge. Very technical, scientific, maybe humanity, arts, everything. They are giving you all this thought-based thing. But do you know, even after you graduate as a doctor or a psychologist or a specialist in that mind field, you still don't know yourself. You understand? Self-knowledge. You still don't know who are you, what are you. They still grasp on to the so-called human being, thinking that it's real. They still have suffering because they don't have the Dhamma. So school cannot teach you wisdom. School teach you knowledge to maybe excel in academic. Because the lecturer themselves don't have the spiritual understanding, how can they teach you spiritual understanding and think? They will only teach you based on what the syllabus and the thought create for them. That's why you must understand the limitation of schooling. But it doesn't mean that schooling is no good. No, schooling has its purpose, like thought. You need education. You need certain type of understanding of life. Because if you are not exposed, you don't have the understanding. That's why at Expo, I know what school life is. What do they teach me? But spiritual thing, I can't learn. That's why in 1971, when I come into contact with the Four Noble Truths, when I started to connect with the teaching, I straight away tell myself, no need to search, that's it. Nobody in the world, 2,000 over years, can summarize all of his understanding into Four Noble Truths, which is the secret of life. All mundane and super mundane there. How to find? That's why I straight away knew I don't search anymore. I just dedicate myself to cultivate, to realize this teaching until 1989. Everything happened. That's why you must have this understanding. Because when I hear the Four Noble Truths, I read from a book that somebody gave me. Immediately, like I understood the whole teaching. No need to teach me. Even the book never says the secret of life, Monday. So all this don't have one. They always tell you Four Noble Truths. And what is Four Noble Truths also they don't know. They cannot elaborate on it. Because they are so scholarly, technical. Pardon me for saying that. Because most of them are that I realize. That's why when you are serious, you will understand what the spiritual field is. Then when it connects, you must go all out to cultivate. It's just like TK. Certain things like strike him. He knows these are the Dhamma that you never hear from others. Why? Well, in the past he heard this before, but he didn't that time determine to cultivate to have the understanding stabilized. He rejoiced. He liked. He said, beautiful, beautiful. But the cultivation part didn't go in strong enough, deep enough. Then the problem with karma is, in the past, he also must have promoted and teach people this type of thought-based one. That's why I end up going through all these things. You will end up becoming that devotee. Mix with people who learn all those things. But this is what you cause people to get lost. Then when you come, you go through this first. Then when the condition arise, then only he managed to like spot it on the internet. He doesn't know me. He only saw my video, like she shared this morning. He said at first he was not interested. He wanted to switch it off. But somehow, don't know why, he said, He go and click on one of the video. Then he heard, hey, this Dhamma different, living Dhamma, no, he said, can make it a living reality, you know. He never heard before. But this is from the past. Hit him, like I saw the Four Noble Truths. I straight away, no need to ask already. No need to search it. That's it. Nobody can do that. I even tell myself at that time, even I have the enlightenment of the Buddha. Of course, not Sama Sambuddha, even, let's say I enlightened to the Four Noble Truths. I cannot summarize all my understanding into Four Noble Truths like him. Cannot. Impossible. But he can. Oh. That's why when I saw the Four Noble Truths, I said, wow, this is the secret of life. This is what I need. This is what I have been searching for. That's why straight away I understand. Then when I cultivate, everything falls into place. It's like automatic. Actually, nobody really taught me. I have teachers, I have guides, but they teach me other things.
Thank you again. Really,
Okay.
thank you again. So
Sorry.
I really don't want to spend
Yeah.
everybody's time. So
You
anyway,
better,
something to say.
Yeah, let your
my
wife
darling.
say something. The host, the host.
We
You
like
want to thank them or what? You
Yeah,
can
all
share.
the Kalyana staff
For attending.
and Brother Teoh for your enlightening talk today. The questions, the mundane, conventional way of thinking of ours. Yeah, we have gone through some very, what you call, knowledge-based kind of Buddhist teaching. So all the while, I thought that pariyati is learning first, so we learn. Then pariyati, pati is to practice.
Putting to practice, yeah. That part you all don't understand. Where you practice without understanding. You practice by following instruction.
Yes.
And what is instruction?
Mm.
Method, technique is a series of instruction that come from the thought process. Do. Who do? The thought do. The thought actively do. You create more thought. How can you be mindful? How can you be aware? So all these are skillful means to anchor the mind. Because the meditation object and whatever chanting or what is to anchor the mind, because they have problem in making the mind quiet and silent. But they think a lot. So the only way is to come out with method and technique to focus, concentrate and fix the mind so that you experience calm, peace. That's why you go to retreat, wow, you say it's good. You never experienced this self calmness before. But is this meditation? No, this is a serious instruction to do things. And who is doing? The thought is doing. The thought is noting, focusing. Most of the time, you feel stressed because so painful. You realize in the retreat, every day walk and sit, your leg also, then you become like very boring. What am I doing? I might as well have a cup of coffee and watch football. Why am I wasting my time here? That's why meditation retreat is not to torture yourself. I always say, why you go and torture yourself without understanding? You're supposed to relax, maintain awareness, and have a clear mind to enjoy the session, to be at peace, to understand, to observe, to learn, not to accumulate knowledge. Understand? Learn means observe, understand, awaken. That is what you're supposed to do. So maintain awareness means be attentive, listen, don't think. But if I ask you not to think, you say cannot.
Yeah, we are born with think.
It's not you are born to think. A baby doesn't. No, the baby never think.
Never think, yeah.
Because you are creating the conditioning in the baby. Because you every say, Papa, Mama, then apple. All these are memory, learning. Yeah. So what the kid do is, when they have a lot of memory and knowledge, it clogs the brain. This brain is not creative anymore. That's why they cannot be a creative child. They cannot be like a child that is gifted unless the karma is like that. You understand? Yes. That's why knowledge bind, clog. Free the mind. You want to teach them understanding. why things are like that, understand. Then don't accumulate. Don't try to remember. Unless mundane things that are useful, then you have to remember, like your name, where you stay, you must remember how you sign your check.
Yeah.
So this is what learning is all about. When you learn, you have open mind. You don't clog your memory. How many of you have studied until when you are studying, until your brain cannot take it anymore?
Oh, never so hardworking.
Never. I experienced it when I was in the university, third year. Oh, I was so good at studying. I can study very well. But too much thing to remember, because the subject is so wide, the field is so wide, and I was doing engineering, so I was able to actually develop the understanding until later on I break free from that memory, that knowledge, because it happened until my brain cannot hold things. It's like want to shut down and make me sleep. In the exam, I lapsed into the unconscious, I sleep and rested for 2-3 minutes, a few times. Then I realized something not right. Then I also last night didn't know. People tell me, half-boiled egg cannot eat too much. Egg yolk don't eat. Because of that, not enough protein, not enough energy, I cannot study. Because the brain shut down already. Then I realized something not right. I went back and sleep. I don't want to know. Then when I wake up, I feel fresh again. Then I met one classmate. I asked him, how much half-boiled egg you eat one day? He said, "Lak liap." Wow! I said, that is great. Nothing happened to you. Nothing. He said, he is very strong. Wow, after that I got order 2 half-boiled egg. And then after that I got no more problem. Because not enough nutrition can cause the brain to break down, to shut down. Because this is the way to protect you. That's why you must learn and develop the understanding and find out yourself. Don't believe what people say. Otherwise you become gullible.
So can we say that we have to experience it ourselves?
That is what realization is.
Okay.
When you really investigate, like the Buddha say, ehi pasiko, but this teaching is the truth. It stands up to investigate. So how to investigate it? You must reflect, contemplate, and check inside. Like the Buddha said, you are the 5 aggregate of form and mind. Am I really that? I cannot use the knowledge. Buddha say, you believe, you never investigate. But when you investigate, you check. Oh, there's a physical body. Then, there's a consciousness trapped inside. Then what can my mind do? Why he say the 5 aggregate is Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. If I don't understand this 5 aggregate, I cannot put it to test. When I grasp and cling, I suffer. I cannot test. So I must know. That's why the 2 aspect is not in the teaching. Nobody teach like that. I came out with the understanding I teach.
Then how do you balance between faith and investigation?
It's not faith and investigation. No. You see, the 7 factors of enlightenment is what? 7 factors of enlightenment that make you enlightened. You should know that. Sati. Then Dhamma Vichaya. This is what you want to know. So with Sati, when you are mindful and aware, only you can investigate the Dhamma. Dhamma investigation. Dhamma investigation is not thinking. Understand? You need Sati. Awareness to be aware. Like just now, the 4 foundation of mindfulness. The 6 internal sense bases, etc. You need to be aware. You need to be there. Be with it. It's not a knowledge or a thought where you go and think and rationalize and think you know. So investigation can only come when you have sati. And sati alone, without investigation, cannot give you faith. You know why? After you investigate, that truth stand up to investigation, like Dhammapada verse 1 and 2. You break the precept, you suffer. You cultivate, your life improve. You change for the better. Then you realize this is so true. Then you become like very, very strong in your faith. In the Buddha, you stand up to investigation. That's why the faith will drive you to get the third factor of enlightenment, which is what? Virya. Virya is not energy. That one worse still.
Theory.
No, you must listen. That's why theory without understanding is very dangerous. Virya is not effort. You know the Noble Eightfold Path, the four right effort, the Buddha used a different term. Sama Vayama.
Vayama.
He never says Sama Virya.
So all this I cannot differentiate.
No, you don't investigate, you don't like check, you believe, lock, stock and barrel, understand? Yeah, everybody believe, I also believe. But you are a person who doesn't really understand things. You like Maggie Me, instant one. Teach me how to meditate. Immediately enlightened one. You are not interested in finding out. When you are interested in finding out, that understanding actually prevents you from making mistake or becoming gullible. A lot of people, same problem with you. Why virya is not effort? Well, effort is sama vayama, is another Pali word. So virya is a spiritual tenacity, a zeal, Z-E-A-L. Spiritual tenacity and zeal to drive you to cultivate, understand? Because you know through the faith that this Dhamma is so beautiful, it stand out to investigate, that's why it drives you to cultivate.
Virya. Okay.
That's why from Saddha, the faith, virya arise. Then when virya arise, when you cultivate, sati will arise. You develop mindfulness, stability of mindfulness. Then when you stabilize sati, samadhi will arise. When sati and samadhi arise, you can see things as they are, you will awaken. Wisdom, panya arise. That's why the 5 spiritual faculties are described and taught in this way. But people who don't understand, scholarly, teach. That's why when I saw the teaching, I told the Kayamita, you don't ask me, you go and ask them. This is how you have been taught, understand? No? It's not about right and wrong. It's understanding. When you understand, you are not gullible. Why you follow instruction? Like a cow. Pull your nose, you follow. Yeah, why? Easy. To be a follower, no stress. Popularly accepted. Everybody also agree. So I got no issue. But if you dare to say something which contradict what is being popularly accepted, you dare to do it, no? When I first come out and share, everything I teach is the opposite of what they learn outside. All the Kayamita panic. They panic. Okay, we have to go already.
Thank you so much.
We
I'll
have
hand the mic to the organizer.
TK say something. Quick one. They are grateful for your condition. Where you invited me, you had affinity, so you can say something if you want to.
I thank you, Brother Teoh. Sadhu. Brother Teoh, really thank you for your Dhamma sharing. I think it's truly very unique. It's not something that in the past that I heard. It's something that is already been there.
Yeah.
And it's something that it really touches.
Yeah.
So today, though I have heard your Dhamma sharing, and part of it that today you share is also part of what I heard before.
Yeah, yesterday and earlier.
Yeah, so this is really a fascinating time, a wonderful time.
Luckily recorded.
Yeah, fortunately.
You must listen to today one again and again. Then you will become different. Then next time You listen to my other talk, you understand. Otherwise, you cannot understand. Where today, one is the basis, the foundation to have that straightening of view. It will straighten your view. You will open up your outlook of life and learning of the meditation, the spiritual understanding. Because everything is important is there. Because of the condition, you all supposed to receive it. It's not I decide what to speak. I speak because they request something. The brother-in-law got problem. I know I can add this in because it is the same thing as elaborate on that. That's why it fall into place. So all this, when you have the understanding, you become different. Then later on, you develop the faith, like what TK said. Most of you are at the fringe, undecided, believe or not to believe. You don't see the importance of this teaching. You don't see the uniqueness of this teaching. You don't see the special transformation power of this teaching. If it allows you to understand the secret of life, so that you can understand life and have the noble life, what are you waiting for? Otherwise, every life you come, gong gong tua, gong gong jia, gong gong si, I tell you, you suffer without knowing. But your sister and brother-in-law is blessed because they have good dana parami. That's why they have this good life, and they got children who want to listen. Because not all kids at this age want to listen on. They will disappear on. To them, the handphone, more things, social media, all these things. And a lot of these things, like what TK said, is meant to be. Everybody here, because there is condition. My daughter started it, say I want to come back to Johor because of some event happened. Then I want to visit Singapore. Then I say, okay, I also go down Singapore. Yeah? He requested to give me dana when I was in PJ, many months back. I said, unless he come down, otherwise not easy. Then I didn't even tell him wait for me to come down. No, I just say let things be. Then he very patient. No, he never remind me, never chase me, never do anything. Then it so happened the pandemic over, went into endemic phase. Then Singapore opened up. Actually, before end of May, it's still not open. I still cannot come. That's why later on when it opened up, there were conditions. Then I knew. Then I told my daughter, I will book the ticket. Then after I booked the ticket, I didn't immediately inform him. I informed him 1 week later. Oh, then he immediately rejoiced. Then, of course, 1 or 2 days later only he texts me. He said, meant for him. I said, yeah, it's meant for you. Then Po Cheng also come to know. Then Po Cheng also request. So he booked me 1 day. She booked me another day. My 2 days is gone. But Brother Chia, I know him very long. He came to my retreat. And the wife Sandra, they have been coming to my house, listen and develop the faith. That's why they understand a lot of things. You want to understand more things, you look for Brother Chia. Sandra also can helping the friend, everything. So because they have affinity, so tomorrow breakfast he is coming over. Sandra, you coming? Good. So we can have the morning before I fly back for them. So you continue. Sorry.
As what Brother Bill said, I think the past parami that we had, allows us to be in this condition today. It's not easy for us to arrange all these things. Thank you to my sister and brother-in-law. Really, I'm very grateful for them to allow me to use this. Honestly, before I approach you, I had actually been to a few centers, and I was told some are actually under renovation. So I was telling myself, wow, where's the condition? You know?
Is the parami Uyen?
Yeah.
They're
That-
supposed to host this and receive this one.
Definitely.
Because in the past, there are things that happened before. Otherwise cannot. And they did it with joy, so willingly.
So with the other centers that I approached, that they have problems like renovation, doing renovation work. You know, I am not able to. So during that time, I was just sitting back, what to do next. Then I remember my sister has a big house. Okay, so I know my house is small. It's a HDB flat, 4-room flat, which is very small. So if I want to provide a conducive venue for everyone to come in and create this super parami, all right, my house cannot accommodate all of them. That's for sure. And first of all, I don't have this mic system also. So, and my sister came to my thought. I approached her. Before she agreed to my request. Okay, I sent her brother's video clip. I suppose she listened. And she called me and says, Brother Teoh is a special person. She wrote in the message. And for that, she acceded to my request without hesitation. So these are all the conditions that I actually gone through. You know, organizing. This thing is really something that I have learned. This is the first time that I actually organize things like this. And it actually went smoothly.
Yeah.
Very smoothly.
Yeah. Like Po Cheng, the MRT station, exactly down the train your car arrived.
Exactly.
And no need to worry or what. Meant to be will be. You're not meant to be here, you cannot be here. I tell you, you cannot be here.
Well, the amplifier was not working, so we were going to run around to make sure that it works because we know that Brother Teoh.
Yeah. That's why. Do you know why they want it to be recorded? It's the being up there. It is not only you all. That's why the condition came when Lorita asked me that question. Then I said, don't worry, it will be recorded. He said, you will come late. And I said, no, he may not hear. Then recorded. Then, I think she called you. He said, I cannot find. Then I said, don't worry. I will look for a recorder. Because just letting you. Then I found my old recorder now. 7 years already, never used. Hopefully record. Then the thing came out. Then you know why? My Kayamita knew. Everywhere I go, my talk very special. That's why they want me to video. I said, never mind, forget about it. Too troublesome video. But I saw somebody with a camera. And I saw... Oh, never mind. I saw you took some video. You can share it with TK and forward to us. Well, my Kayamita there wants to see, so that they can develop. We got one annual thing, Kayamita gathering. Every year we have. So all the event that I attended or go and do the sharing, they will have all the photos so that they can put inside the year-end Kayamita gathering clip. Then all these people can rejoice, give them faith and all these things. So faith is very important. When you have the condition to see, listen, rejoice, you will benefit. And I can tell you, this one, when it come out, a lot of people will benefit. your benefit. These are the teaching which is a living reality that can only be realized by the individual who cultivate. But through your parami, you listen, you will know it's different. It's not like somebody trying to argue his way out and trying to be right. No need. Everything I say is like not only logical, like so profound, so deep. Like your husband Waike say, a lot of understanding arise where this sharing open him up, make him understand things so differently. And for you, take time, because you and TK same, your karmic past conditioning. When you have knowledge conditioning, you cannot listen, because you compare, you use this memory, your views, opinion, and conditioning to approach the teaching. That's why when I ask you the first category of the fourth foundation of mindfulness, you have to recall through memory. Then you listen to Pocheng, 5 mental hindrance. But the 7 are very straightforward. These are essential Dhamma. First, mindfulness of the 5 mental hindrance. Then mindfulness of the 5 aggregate of form and mind, Wu Yun. Then the third one is mindfulness of the 6 internal sense bases and 6 external sense bases. Then the fourth one is mindfulness of the 7 factors of enlightenment. If you don't cultivate the 4 foundation of mindfulness, the 7 factors of enlightenment cannot come out. So when you see the 7 factors of enlightenment, you will know you are on the right path. Like just now we go through Sati, Dhamma, Vichaya, then Virya. When your virya is there, it will drive you all out to cultivate. You will realize pasati. Pasati is the 5th enlightenment factor. And that one is your silent mind, your true mind. Then you will realize samadhi. Your mind become collected, unwavering. Then you can see things as they are and awaken and develop the wisdom that give rise to the upekkha mind, equanimity mind. That's how it happens. Then once the 7 factors of enlightenment arise, you will realize the Four Noble Truths, the Three Turning, and the enlightenment. So Avijja Sutta also said, step 8 just now I didn't finish. After step 8 you cultivate. The step 9 is 7 factors of enlightenment will arise. And when it arises, you know you're on the right path. Then final enlightenment sequence is realize the enlightenment in the here and now. That is what that sutta is, Avijja Sutta. They are all linked and connected. Okay? So have faith. Okay, sadhu, sadhu. I need to give blessing to the house where they requested for it. So I will do it quickly. At the same time we share merit, transfer merit. This is for the good of your brother-in-law and sister, because of their parami. So hope there are causes and conditions for us to meet again. So my nature rejoices with all the wholesomeness. Sadhu.